Hello there.
How you doing?
We've been looking forward to this.
Indeed, I've definitely been looking forward to this. It's been a long time coming for sure.
Well, all we can say is that we've just had a bath just to relax ourselves. I think we got slightly overexcited for this one. Extra preparation on the presentation and that. So then, we are the 5 pillars of storytelling. We've got art, comics, movies, games, and toys as our storytelling thread. It's Sunday, the 23rd of February. We hope it is, especially to you guys watching in the future. You might want to fact check us on that one. It's 7 p.m. London, UK, Greenwich Mean Time. And we have got the one and the only, which we'll talk about, Brother Dio, in just a moment. Host Azrael, we're going to do our little bit of introduction, as is our want. The who, what, why, and how of Brother Dio of the Tome of Reckoning. So I'm going to say hello there. Welcome to 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live, where we talk art, comics, movies, games, and toys from the past, present, and future. Yes, we're looking at you guys in the future to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button to make us have more followers than ELO had in their band. I'm your host, Azrael, and my secret identity is Carl Prometheus, storyteller, artist, and promoter of indie creators, comics, and community. Our style is universal, so we can watch by creative families, creative adults, and the creative younglings want to set the tone. People in the indie comics community and comics in general say, comics don't appeal to children anymore. We can't enjoy them as adults and children anymore. They're not universal. They're not newsstands. Well, we're going to do our bit by setting the tone to try and be more professional, but we're not going to be too stiff about it. We want to have some fun as well. And so our motto is to listen, learn, and share so that creative families can go to somewhere using this sci-fi, Star Trek technology that we have to stream without boundaries in the world, stuff we couldn't do in the 1980s. You get Joe Staton's Huntress art and process in a black and white DC superheroes comic book, a rare kind of article. And you think, that's great, but I want to see monkey see, monkey do. I want to see how he actually did that. And now all these years later, we can get expertise from this guy down below, Brother Dio.
Awesome. How's it going?
So not too bad. And I tell you what, just as we had our brief, he says, wink, introduction to ourselves, we've done our bit of guest introduction for you, Brother Dio. We call it our own unique prose, which some people might be still recovering from on our X channel. So Dionysius Adellinus, here is a graduate of the Joe Kubert School of Comic Art. Look into the camera, Kyle, so that you maintain eye contact and emotional contact with your audience. Yes, you little green light. Here's a master of flow, drawing. We call it that. He draws those hard to draw panels showing content and narrative nuance. You want that shot in through the back of a speeding car through the rear window? He's your guy. That's actually hard to do. Yeah, the pinup stuff is always nice, but getting that flow, that is accomplished indie creator artwork. So yes, and it's these little touches that create narrative nuance in his work. Dio has an old school 80s filmic storytelling with dramatic suspense, with segues that have you hanging by a thread. He's a highly regarded creator in the indie community with the critically acclaimed, looks at the camera again, with the critically acclaimed Tome of Reckoning, #1, #2, and #3. And yes, we want 4. Forging his own brand of classic horror with Mike Plugian sensibilities. X-profile Dio at Reckoning Comics. Tome of Reckoning horror, fantasy horror book available on Fund My Comic. Yes, you can still get the catch-up tier on that, which we recommend. Founder of the Tome of Reckoning, which sounds like a lifelong passion project. More about that in a minute. Tome of Reckoning has been embryonic gestation since Dio was 12 years of age, he says. We actually had to go out and do our own reconnaissance. Why? Because finding more information was tricky. As I dispatched the 5 pillars of storytelling crack covert team of Black Ops investigators, only one returned alive and told us to do the background check ourselves. That's what you get when you try to do background checks on werewolves. I guess Murphy wasn't for turning. A powerful, oh yes, we've got to do the voice. A powerful Sith he will be. We crown this dark prince of horror storytelling. Yes. Darth Dionysius, a special warm welcome to Horror Protege. Hello there, brother Dio.
How's it going? That was a heck of an introduction. I think the only thing that was off was the I didn't graduate from the Kubert School. I went 1 year, but other than that, I can't say thank you enough for that introduction and those accolades, brother. Thank you.
No problem. We weren't sure if it was just the 1 year, but we thought we'd own the safe. We'd say that you have certainly graduated in terms of your comic. Wouldn't you?
Well,
when you're walking the talk, you graduated, man, from what
awesome.
we've seen.
Thank you.
And the rest.
I appreciate that. Big time. Big time.
No problem. All right, I've zoomed in. Oh, I can see his face now. Yes. So let's give him a little wave. Yeah, you're looking clean shaven like ourselves. We call this the uni beard. We kind of shave the head and the beard all in one go. We call it the unity look.
I like it. I'm due for a trim pretty soon, so I'm gonna take. It's getting hot down here in Florida, so I need to take this off ASAP.
What? Hey, if Murphy's in the bathroom, are you gonna turn the shift out? We wouldn't.
It's awesome.
Right then, we shall work our way, Dio, brother Dio. We have forged some kind of friendship.
100%.
It's amazing how you get a special bond just through relating to somebody on social media. You know, we count you amongst a clutch of people who we felt an instant connection, a unique bond. I don't know if it's that love of 80s horrors that we used to watch those old 80s Betamax horrors, then it was VHS, and everybody went through the then evil. You know, every society it was comics in the 50s that were evil, and then in the 80s it was evil because they designated it evil like they did CB rated in the 70s. Of course, everybody does it. So everybody and the siblings were watching gory 80s horrors and everything from The Brood to zombie films, all of that. But we'll get into that, of course. How can we not with you here? So we are going to go to our next slide. And we have got, folks, the big 5 questions. And only one person amongst a few is big enough to handle these questions. It's brother Dio. Right then, let's go for the first big one, Dio. Who is Dio? Storytelling influences, perhaps, comic journey, movies, music, just the existential core of who you are. And here we've got a picture of Dionysius, creator, writer, artist. Apparently, he's just a dude who loves writing, drawing, and fulfilling, or as we call him, master of flow. But I think he's a big enough guy to speak for himself.
I need to update that picture, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's probably 40 pounds lighter. I am a guy who grew up loving horror, loving drawing and writing at a young age. So influences, tons when it comes to the old horror movies, you know, from the slashers to the possession flicks to the monster movies, pretty much anything. The old Hammer, Dracula, and Frankenstein. Hammer was a big influence on me, big time when I was a kid. But just it runs the gamut of anything you could imagine from those 80s horror flicks, and I still love modern horror as well. There's some really good flicks nowadays that I've definitely stuck in my list of top favorites. I don't know if you've seen, this is one that not everybody loves, but Hereditary. I love that movie. But I was just a kid who loved drawing. My aunt really tried to foster that artwork love when we were hanging out. She would draw little pictures of the Parthenon. She's an old lady from Greece. So she would teach me that stuff. And from there, I went about my own way and started doing a lot of drawing and then telling stories. I love telling stories and writing stories. And I didn't really, I loved those superhero characters when I was a kid, but I didn't really get my first comic till I was around 12. And then I realized then that I could marry the two and really put a story together for, you know, a fraction of the cost that it would take to make an 80s movie or a movie in general. So yeah, that's pretty much my early journey was just marrying that love of artwork and storytelling around 12 when I got my first comic book, which was a Batman book. I couldn't tell you which one it was.
Batman, so did we. It was Mr. Freeze front cover, artwork by Jim Aparo. And Batman's got all the icicles on his face and everything. He's coming out the cryogenic chamber, and Mr. Freeze is celebrating his freezing victory over Batman. So you couldn't quite remember which one it was?
I can't, and it's funny. There's a buddy of mine on Twitter that was trying to help me. A guy named Kazam, a really good guy within the indie community as well. And I could not figure it out. And to this day, I still couldn't tell you what it is. I can tell you what was going on in the story.
Do tell us what was going on in the story. Now you've piqued our bat curiosity.
Well, it was definitely more of a narrative issue than it was a super action one. But I know he was talking to Two-Face, who wasn't exactly a bad guy at that point in time, and he was talking to him like in an opera house, I believe, or something like that. But yeah, I lost my collection about 20 years ago. I want to say maybe a little longer. Probably about 21 years ago, I lost my collection. Yeah, 21 years ago. So it's gone with the hair, the memory of what that book was, and it's always going to get me.
Oh man, I know.
It was the first book I had. I remember I was with my dad. He had gotten a trip to we lived in we lived in Daytona, which is next to Orlando, and his company, he was a mechanic, had gotten a trip to MGM Studios, which is now I think called Disney Hollywood Studios, whatever it was when it first opened. And there wasn't much to do there because it was just brand new, but there was a kiosk that had comics. And I was like, oh man, I've always grew up knowing who Batman was from cartoons and all that other stuff. And then I was like, oh wow, get this. So he got me my first comic. And from there, it was just a lifelong love of the medium and just the capability to create those stories on my own. So yeah,
so it's that creative control. It's so affordable. There's a low gate between the creator and the community. They're cheap to make. There's obviously you have to invest your time in that and then be committed to it. But compared to something astronomical like a film budget, comics are much more accessible, even more so these days than they were in the 80s. Because obviously, print runs used to have to spend about $1 to $2 grand to actually do 1,000 to 2,000 comics up front, and you've got all these print runs, and you don't know. Of your comic, and you don't know if they're going to sell or not. Whereas these days, with the advent of digital printing, you can actually print on demand batches of 25, 50, 75, 100, 500, 1,000. So as your audience grows with you, you can accommodate the print run according to your budgetary needs. So you make an interesting point there, and I like the fact that your auntie's involved. Yes. And your dad's involved, and we know a certain special somebody in our life was involved in doing drawings for us when we were small and buying our first comic. It was the spectacular Spider-Man comic weekly.
Awesome.
And it was the really big wheel, and the rocket racer was on the front of the cover, giving it to Spider-Man. I think that was by Jim Mooney or the other guy we liked, the Marvel UK comics were a UK bound variation of the parent company. So they were more cheaply made because the distribution wasn't as high, obviously, in the UK as it was in America. Mm-hmm. So we got black and white interiors, but it was A4, so the art was bigger.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
Bigger art. It was in the black and white. Some noir fans might say the Storyteller medium of choice. Well, we're big fans of color, especially in your case, but you did get colour on the cover, and then when they started out matte, then they went to the glossy for a little while, which was nice. Then they went back to matte, and what was it? Something like 5 to 7 pence back in the day, very cheap. You know what I mean? And before we got into pounds and multi-pounds, and how much for a comic 10, and things have changed so much. But really? Glad that your family's involved, and we like that.
For sure. And my love of horror was bestowed upon me by my mother. She started me off at
cool.
Yeah, she was a huge horror fan. I mean, we would watch. I mean, I probably some would say you're too young to watch it. I didn't turn out to be a killer, so everything's okay. But she started me off with horror. That was her big passion, was horror movies. So she started me off watching all that stuff, from Rosemary's Baby all the way to the stuff that was when I was 8 or 9 was American Werewolf in London, and she took me to see I think I was around 10, maybe 9. She took me to the theater to see Return of the Living Dead, which was awesome. Still one of my favorite zombie movies ever. Great punk rock, comedy zombie flick that I still think holds up today. So yeah, it was definitely a family affair. My brother bought me when he was I think in it was high school. He had bought me my first drawing table, which was a tiny little drawing
table. Drawing table. That's family. I think I want to be adopted.
Yeah, it's awesome. We are crazy though. Definitely that Greek and that.
Oh, we know about the craziness. We're Irish Scots lineage here, so we're a hybrid of different kinds of crazy.
I was gonna say you fit right in then, brother. Yeah, you're more than welcome to come on in.
I think we came originally from Greece along the Mediterranean Celtic trail to Spain and then into Ireland. We classify ourselves as an Iberian Celt.
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
Don't tell anybody we said that. That's classified information. Just for you, brother dear.
I'm keeping it close to the chest. That's awesome, man. Yeah, so it definitely was a family affair for that passion of everything from drawing to to the horror stuff. As for music, I grew up, I had an older brother, so when kids were listening to New Kids on the Block, he was definitely getting me in the new wave stuff. So I was listening to Yazoo and Erasure, Depeche Mode, New Order.
Erasure, a little respect.
Oh yeah, I love them, man. Great stuff.
Great song that. Depeche Mode as well. What's your favorite Depeche Mode song?
Oh man, something off of Black Celebration. I'm not really good with names, but Black Celebration. Oh, I really can't say, man, because there's also and I don't know names, but driving. I'm taking. That's a great one, but there's also one on Black Celebration that I love.
There is a Depeche Mode light, we should call it, band called Aha.
Oh, yeah.
We're not sure about the latest stuff. Everybody's probably got their opinions on that, which could be a bit more hit and miss, but they've definitely got the hardcore fans. But the first time they did Hunting High and Low, we finally got in vinyl after all these years, and it is a dark pop opera masterclass, not a duff track inside. There's things like Train of Thought and others where you think, this is, when you listen to Depeche Mode, after listening to it, you kind of get how they were probably influenced to what you were listening to.
So you're saying Aha's earlier stuff was
check out the debut album. I tell you what, it's Spotify, whatever. Check out the links on YouTube. Things like Hunting High and Low. I mean, it's the pop ballads that break your heart. It's that eternal quest for for love, isn't it? You'll go anywhere to find the one, and there's some absolute classics. All we can say is listen to it, maybe in a darkened room with Murphy. We suggest putting the restraining chains on Murphy. We're not sure what he's like in the dark. He might not be able to handle it. So anyway, we are loving getting some background. The whole point of this show, and we want to make this indelibly clear to listeners, is not us. We're just holding up the mirror, a dark mirror in the case of the five, in terms of the Tome of Reckoning. And we want it to be all about the creator, who they are, and what they're creating. So yes, we are going to go to the next slide. And the question we're asking is, what does he create? Elevator pitch, convention table pitch, the Tome of Reckoning. We got this from one of your campaign headers. The hottest horror adventure indie book. Now, we want you to give us your elevator convention table pitch and tell us all about the Tome of Reckoning. What does Brother Dio create for anybody who might be new to their book? And
Sure.
We recommend they buy it.
Thank you. It's a story about a group of misfits that are brought together during the first days of an impending apocalypse. And it's their race, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's their race to find safe haven before the proverbial doo-doo hits the fan. It's got monsters, it's got extra dimensional beings, it's got shadowy government forces, it has conspiracy, it has a lot of themes that were brought up from the action and the horror I love. But at its core, it's a story about familial love, whether it be blood or bond. But at its core, it's a story about friendship and family love and persevering through dark times to come. So, but monsters, werewolves, vampires, slashers, and like I said, extra dimensional stuff, sorcerers, antediluvian sorcerer, immortal people. So it's got it all. But at its core, if you love a story with action, adventure, some frights, and I'd like to think some heart, the Tome of Reckoning is definitely up your alley, and I'd love for people to check it out.
Conspiracy, family, and a freight train of Murphy action.
Yes.
You like that? And of course, it's got all your bonus items like blood and somebody pressing his hands on a soldier's head so that he can be wrenched against the support beam.
Yes,
And stuff like
indeed.
that. One of our favorite panels, to me.
Thank
It's
you.
like, don't annoy him, folks. And we also say, that's going to hurt in the morning, son. So we certainly love that kind of thing. So yes, the Tome of Reckoning, you heard it straight from Brother Dio's mouth, exactly what it's all about and what it's creating and what the flavors on there. I mean, we've got a kind of, what I call it, a kind of potpourri of different different elements in that. So it's got a rich seam of narrative textures, shall we say, almost like a tapestry of narrative textures. Let's call it that.
Like
right
that.
Then, we have another slide for you, sir, and it is this one. Cover. Tell us about this cover. It seems to be a different artist. Now, obviously, we're feigning ignorance because we want our audience to be intrigued and ensnared by your own story.
Yes, the cover was done by a friend that I'd met at my first year at the Kubert School, my only year at the Kubert School.
Right, that's the link then. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And his name is Ed Herrera, and he is amazing. He'll be actually putting out an art book of his own. He's done sequential stuff here and there. I think some indie stuff. He should be doing, and I might be biased, but everybody that went to school with this guy either bit something off of his style or just admired his style. And he's just a great all-around dude. Eduardo Herrera did the covers, and I couldn't be more thankful and lucky, to be honest with you, because he's just killed it on each cover. So hopefully he'll be doing the fourth as well. But he's just a great, accomplished artist. He'll be doing like I said, an art book at some point in time soon and crowdfunding that. So as soon as I get the links for that, I am plastering that everywhere. And I suggest, if you're a lover of art, of comics, sequential storytelling, design, definitely get in on getting his book, because Eduardo Herrera is a master in his craft, for sure.
We'd like to say, actually, that was one of the things. Well, it's the first thing that attracted, being honest, us to your book. And that was like a kind of right box faint.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we opened the cover, it was like a completely, with a Street Fighter guy goes up in the air and he lands in that painful kind of way.
Heck yeah.
So it's a 1-2 punch for us. That's actually, we're just relating our first visual experience. We now have that kind of, what is this? And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then you go inside and go, wow, this really is cool. So we'd like to say, yeah, he's got an attractive exotic style. Oh, just this thing from Crenshaw. He says, similarly, one of the earliest comics that really affected me was a Batman book that I can't remember. Brother Dio, it's catching.
It is. Brother Crenshaw. What's up, buddy? How's it going?
We read that Jim Aparo, Mr. Freeze book. Remember, we desperately wanted to keep the cover on it, but we read it so much until the cover came off. And then the cover obviously went west, and but we often link that on our X Twitter 5 Pillars of Storytelling as memories from the corner of your mind, Barbra Streisand style.
And that shows you the love for I collected, but I wasn't somebody who my books looked good, but they were read. I wanted to read, voraciously read everything that I had gotten over and over again. And I think that shows, because there's people out there that collect, which is awesome too. But I didn't care if I was messing them up. It wasn't intentional. It was just because I just wanted to read them. It's so fun to read the story and then go back, look at the drawings, then it really is an underrated medium. I think in the world of entertainment, it really is. I think there's so much stuff you can do with comics, and like you said, just reading it so much that you rip the cover off, it didn't matter because you could still read it. It's something that really ties us all together in this little community that we have, especially with you, brother, as early on, we've been talking for quite a while. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. And I can tell you have that passion, and it's really cool to share that with you. So,
wow, can you still have passion these days? Is it allowed for guys to have passion and be enthusiastic? I mean, we sometimes get so enthusiastic, it almost takes our eyes out, Yeah. Especially that alluring lady in that werewolf comic that we're talking about.
Awesome.
I mean, we've got to be careful that we don't have a kaboom detonation when we start going and looking at those kind of images. In fact, we put a safety warning just on our X to help promo our chat and your book, and we recommend wearing protection. Hey guys, it's a universal show. We mean fire retardant protection. That's what we mean. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So anyway, moving swiftly on, we do have this nice interior art. I mean, you want to know if this guy can handle the chops and the flow? Well, if you think a shot with a car speeding at 70 miles per hour and looking into the rear view window is difficult, then how about you have a little look at this one? I mean, let's have a look here. Where we got? Here we go. We've got this one. There we go. Bring that one up. There he is. Tell us about this. Obviously, no spoilers. Give teasing clues.
Sure. It's essentially the opening of the book, and it is passages from something called the Tome of Reckoning. And in this scene, I'm just trying to give the visual that, you know, we're all together on this planet, you know, but it's just us, you know, for right now. So it's the entry to what would be the most normal time in our period of living on the earth before the gateways open up and things start to get really, really crazy. So I just wanted to give you that aspect of us being, you know, on this small little ball together, and also being part of a surveillance world at the moment, you know, with all the satellites pinging and picking up all your texts and picking up your phone calls, because there is that aspect in the story as well that plays out of a government, shadowy government force that is not necessarily run by the government, but is doing its own thing because it's been given, you know, enough power where there's nobody to give it oversight. So it's I tried to convey a lot of stuff in that opening page, as much as I could, and I think hopefully it plays out well through the following pages in that issue and onward.
You're feeding our intellectual ids, brother Dio. Very tasty indeed. Very, very tasty. We like that. Awesome. In fact, we view you as Master Flow so much, we've decided to actually go with a lot of the artwork from your campaigns, which give a preview of 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. So actually having somebody talking through the thought process, we thought might be able to be educational to any younger viewers that are watching, so they can actually learn from an expert such as yourself, and just to give us a few tantalizing teasers of what you were thinking narratively as you created it. Here's another one.
So this page is essentially a government building. Jewel, my wife, did the colors on it, which it just made it pop so much in all the right places that I wanted to, with the pinks of the sun setting. But I just wanted to you know, give you that establishing shot of the building, and then, you know, sort of tease who this person is from a distance through the glass, and then finally pin on his face when he realizes that his team member has caught something on his camera that he didn't realize they had actually captured. Now during the scene that he's talking about, they have seen some stuff, but unfortunately the camera wasn't on until the last moment, so they thought they hadn't captured anything, which you will find out later on. So I definitely am a believer in show don't tell. So you do get to see things later on, but I wanted to give that view of Bo, that character, in an ambiguous way where you don't know, you know, what side of this fight he's on, and I hope, you know, I gave him such a, you know, enough of a unique face that you know, it captures the reader's attention, you know.
We like that narrative ambiguity. Some creators have been hammered for that. So some people have done very well for themselves. We certainly know who that guy is. He's very popular and he's made $1 million or $2 million. And obviously, detractors are always going to detract. But we like the fact that his particular was ambiguous. And we like the fact that your work is ambiguous in that way. Just like those 80 movies, because where creators are actually giving the audience credit for having a brain and intelligence, rather than these days you get the kind of creation by committee wheel that does the data dump, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, if you've come from an era where you've had to use your brain, it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable. You're thinking, who's this for? It's certainly not for me, you know. But we like that you're kind of making something that's intriguing for people of our kind of era, and we're obviously of the same sort of age, 29. Yes. We don't look too bad for 29, brother. You and me,
you look good, brother. I'm telling you, I need your beauty secrets, man.
Oh, we do liquid smoothies. Trying to get back to the gym, which we've got our own gym, but it's ironic when you have your own house gym. I used to travel miles to go to the gym. Now I have one in my own house and think, why am I not using it? Come on, Kyle,
funny.
Sort yourself out, you know.
It's funny how I just started working out again.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. So
what are you doing? Weights or aerobics, yoga,
running? I just started lifting again, and I jumped into the curls. I started curling the 45s again, like I could, and of course I pulled something, but I'm still hitting it. So I'm doing push-ups again.
Brachialis. I remember doing the He-Man stuff. And just you get tired and you one more rep.
You just nailed it. Exactly what happened. The left arm was going great though, which is the funny part because I'm right dominant and I'm still ripping them on that one. But I'm taking just a couple of day break on that. But I'm back on it. It's time to get back to where I was, and it won't take long. I'm one of those rubber band guys where I'll get big, I'll get small, but I'm not getting any younger. So I need to do that now before before it's too late. Got to keep my colorist around. Wink, wink.
Oh yes, we like our three kings: squats, deadlifts, and squats, deadlifts. And what was the other one? Squats, deadlifts. Oh, and benching, of course.
That's awesome.
Favorite.
Yeah, I wish I had a bench. I know when we finally get our own place, we're looking to move out of this place by the end of the year. I'd love to have that. Jewel is she's in shape. The girl's always in shape, but she's big. Squats, all that stuff. I'd love to have a place where I had a place to put a bench, but right now it's just push-ups on this 240-pound body. So I'm getting my weight there. But yeah, squats, bench, all that. When I used to go to the gym, it was the best. But like you said, now that I have the weights at home, I hadn't done anything with them in a while, and I think it was time. So I'm actually jumping on that now as hard as I can to at least get back into shape for myself and for the girls. So the girls meaning my wife and and my kids. Not like the girls.
The girls, yes. Well, it's good to hear that your wife's in shape. She can kind of give you a little gentle nudges to get back in shape, and that they can be supportive in that way. And we want to talk a bit more about Jewel, your wife, and her we call Lynn Barley-esque colouring real soon. There was somebody else that said that, and we thought, you know what, that observation's really cool. She does have that iridescent, radiant glow of the barley from the Dark Knight Returns fame. Yes, so we need to talk a bit more about her, because what you have as well, you're the tip of the spear, of course, and a keystone part of the Tome of Reckoning, but you also have your team as well, which we've got a little slide for that a little bit later. Oh, naughty Crenshaw, you've been naughty. You skipped 2 weeks of workouts. I'll tell you what, you're doing better than us. I think we've skipped the last year, and I tell you what, we can feel it in every part of our body. I mean, just thinking, oh man, I tell you, I'm going to just take one hell of a beat, and I'm going to need a couple of physios and to actually iron us out afterwards, because we'll have, you stiffen up, you're thinking, I've not done that in a year, and you kind of walk like Frankenstein or plank, and then you think, of course. I'll tell you what, and hey, anybody suffering from muscle or back fatigue, we say chiropractor and physiotherapist are invaluable members of getting your body kind of prepared again. It's only a best part, 50 quid. You can have a session each with these guys, and they'll just get your body balanced, clicked and clacked to get that foundation ready to go again. We recommend that. We thought it was a load of woo-woo nonsense until we tried it. I mean, yeah, we suffered the pain, but afterwards we thought, oh look, we're like Pinocchio. Somebody snipped the strings, we can actually walk again without kind of like any kind of like stiff muscles and that getting in the way and that. And your bad back, you think, why have a bad back? Well, your bone structures and balance, kind of behave yourself, treat it more holistically, you know what I mean? That was our old gym buddy. He slept on a bed of books, and he was all about the holistic side of it. And honestly, I could spend 3 hours talking about him on the stream. But we're all about you, brother Dan. We're going to move on to the next one. Kind of what's going on here?
This is the scene where he realizes that they had caught something a little bit funky on the body cam that had just been turned on, and once again, not trying to give the reader, not trying to, expo dump on them, just giving them enough to come along for the ride and have a little bit of a mystery as to what's going on and where Bo stands and what government agency he's working for, as he heads out the door to get the ball rolling and the story moving forward with a little bit of action, hopefully.
Yes, very good, very good. We like that. We do. And now we like this one. It's coming up.
Oh yes, awesome.
When we first saw this, we're like, oh man, this is awesome. This book's definitely for us.
Jewel, my pencils have gotten better since the first issue, and I think each issue, hopefully people see that it gets better and better. But I'll tell you, Jewel has elevated this book beyond my imagination. She killed it on the colors, and that's what really brings this page to life for me. Just the way that car is turning, and you can see the lights popping on the road before they get to the murder of crows. It blows me away, and I'm a fan of this page because of her work. But it is the intro to our characters, at least one of the main ones. I tried to give on the previous page the idea that they're after two guys, and who pulls up in this car? These two guys. So you start to see a cast of characters from this page on that will be with us for a good long while, even if they seem inconsequential. Even the birds. It's everything on this page has a purpose and a reason, and Jewel just killed it with the colors, in my personal opinion, on this page, bringing it to life in a way that I wouldn't have seen otherwise.
The serendipity of the universe. We also used to think that was a slightly crazy thing, but these days more than ever, we are looking for the signs from you, the stars, everything. And I tell you what, the first time we can actually tell you that we bestowed the master of flow metaphor on you, unquote, we thought, this is it. Look here, we've got establishing shot, you've got the crows, and looks like roadkill.
Yes.
Might be Murphy kill, we don't know yet. And it's on the road, and then just the way the crow turns around, and then you're foreshadowing what's coming next, and then bam, the car is roaring straight through them, yeah, and they're in this kind of like swirling dance of crow panic. And then you've got what we like here is that shot right through the rear window of the car, so the car's gone past you, and what can we say here? The car's gone right past you, and you're going straight in as they're speeding away, and you can see the guys in the car. I mean, what a shot. What a shot. We think that from the first panel right through to that one, you've got 4 panels of what we call mastery of narrative flow, the flow from Brother Deer. That's as good as anything we've seen in the indie comics community. It's absolute mastery of storytelling here. We really love this one. Absolutely nailed it with that one.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's in writing and drawing, I've always did it for myself. Even if I didn't put this book out, I would still be drawing and writing it for myself. So actually putting it out into the world and seeing people that, have taken a liking to it, and especially, all the accolades and the great stuff you're saying, Brother Az, I can't say thank you enough, because this is, it's my baby. It's not my, my other babies, who I love dearly, but this is, who I wouldn't be as scared as putting them out into the world. You know what I mean? Just because, I would be scared of putting it out to the world, but I mean, it's something. This is something that's judged. It could be judged harsher than anything, and I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Well earned in your case, well earned, and we can see it just in that page alone. If you could just buy one page from the Tome of Reckoning, that would be the one for us. It says everything about your ability, but also your commitment. What we like and what you're saying is, sometimes in life, who we are is what we do when nobody else is around. That's integrity of a creator. And you do this for yourself, even if you weren't publishing it. And you'd have your stack of Comic Art pages filed away under your own issues, because you're living that family memory of having your first Batman, of your aunt, of your dad, and people like that have got your comics or got you into drawing. We relate to that one above all, and guiding light, drawing, comics. We know of what you speak. Our stories are not too dissimilar. They're very alike, they are. And we like that passion. You'll do it when nobody's. The fact that you can put it and print it and get other people interested in it is just a bonus.
Thank you.
That's love. That's real love, folks.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
No bother. We yeah, that one hits you. That's a gut punch. We like words like that. That's what this show's all about. What we got here?
We have our two junkie drivers looking to pick up an easy mark. They're essentially driving on a road that is known for, you know, drug dealers and mules walking around, and they found a hitchhiker who has a duffel bag. So in their eyes, they might have caught an easy mark. And this is our first introduction to Murphy. Just we
thought so too. We thought this poor innocent guy, he's got in the car. What's going to happen to him, right?
Exactly. You know, he's thinking, why is this guy in the back seat? Oh, it's because he gets car sick. But doesn't the front seat, you know, isn't the front seat better for car sickness? Well, it's no big deal. So yeah, it's Murphy, who looks like just a nice, polite, unassuming gentleman, just trying to hitchhike in the middle of the night to a small town somewhere in southern Florida.
Yeah, we like that one. We absolutely do. Very good. Right then, here we go.
And here they are, just talking, and you know, Murphy's just trying to be as polite as he can, because he is a polite guy. He appreciates that value in people and tries to bestow that on others that he meets. But the tables seem to turn a little bit in this story, because these guys need some money. They need a fix, and they assume that this was an easy mark. And as you can see, he's unzipping his duffel bag, but there's nothing in there that they would be interested in. You know, no drugs and no cash. So they might have gotten the wrong guy at this point in time. Not sure they believe it yet, but
no.
But he's
it,
trying.
It looks like they're going to take a bit more convincing.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as a creator, you're prepared for that.
Indeed. And here they are. He's trying to tell them it's not that big of a deal. He's had a rough couple of days, which you will see in issue 4. He's trying to explain to them that, you know, this is not the first time I've had a gun pointed in my face, but I'd hope it'd be the last. You guys have a choice here. I'm trying to be polite. Just let me off, let me go, and we can all go about our merry way. But they have other plans indeed, and they do not go their way, as you can see here. Yeah, somebody's lost a hand.
Yeah, we just noticed that there now. I thought, crikey, we're too busy focusing on the boom. And if you want a bit of boom in your life, you come to the right place, because we've got Brother Deo in the house going through the narrative flow of his Tome of Reckoning. And you'll get little kernels of truth, gems, and nuggets of gold straight from the indie creator's mouth himself. I tell you what, we're so looking forward to this. We're trying our best to stay calm, but you know, it's very hard. If we start fidgeting our seat, you know, we're kind of really trying to restrain ourselves. Right then, we've got another one here for you. What we got here then?
Yes. So he's finally realized that maybe he should have pulled over. His friend is not doing so well in the back seat. And Murphy in the third panel shows himself for what he is. And I tried to evoke some of those old horror movies where you didn't necessarily see the monster, and a lot of that was because of budgetary constraints. You know, it didn't maybe look as good in the light as it would in the shadow, and I think that actually made a lot of those movies better. I think that's one of the things that nowadays, when you have a monster in a movie, either you see it directly in the trailer in full light, or you see it just right away in the movie. And I think even if it looks super cool, it's sort of a good idea to hide it within the shadows, because your mind actually pieces things together and makes it a little bit more horrific than what you might have intended. So I tried to go that route with this scene, where you don't really see the big monster itself clearly, and just give you enough to know that something is chasing these guys down.
Classic, old school, let the power of the imagination do the talking. Give your reader that narrative trust. They'll pick it up, and they might imagine something even worse than you expected as an author, because they've got their own life journey to bring to your work. And that's where the creator audience dance happens. That's the pure magic of indie comics. You haven't got some corporate checkbox designed by committee saying this, that, and the other. You can take quality influences from times past and take the best bits and bring it to your own creative journey and share that with your audience directly.
Indeed.
Indeed it is. Right then. And what we like about that last page was the fact that there's this gurgle sound of the car just discreetly in there. And folks, that's not the car running out of petrol. Just letting you know. Awesome. So here we go. I mean, yeah, I just got to see that again. Gurgle. Right, moving on to the next one. So we like that one. And what we hear we're like here is this sedgeway, which is classic 80s old school. You know, you've got this sedgeway of a scream from the previous scene. So you've got obviously there's that inferred screaming, and oh my god, not the face with the last page, you know, kind of what happened, and it's partly obscured, so your imagination has to work overtime. But then you've got the sedgeway to a relatively calm scene, except it looks like somebody's having a nightmare. So the scream links to the previous events of what was going off on that highway. And you can see here, it looks like somebody was having a bit of a nightmare.
Yes, indeed. She's woken up from a nightmare. This is our character, Maureen, and she is sleeping in what was her childhood home, her mother's home, and she has woken up from a nightmare. She has had visions in the past, hence the medication bottle on her nightstand, and she assumed, you know, it's just another one of those hallucinations that she had as a kid. And it's a little bit darker than that, as we see the two gentlemen from the scene prior giving her a dire warning that something is happening. And this is where her world tends to get larger, and the story itself tends to expand from this point on.
Very interesting. We like the almost prophetic characters in the last panel. Is there, dare we say, is there a slight influence from a certain one of your favorite horror movies in terms of, you know, the kind of advocacy, the dark advocacy coming from somebody trying to warn somebody else?
100.
You can. We're not going to say what it is. We can let you speak for yourself on that one.
100%. You know, I like that idea of, and I took it and did it in a different way, where it's not Murph, because we know what we're talking about. It's not Murphy's thing that he has going on, but that definitely was an influence, 100%. Subconsciously, consciously, yeah, exactly. And it is one of those things where it was such a great scene, and the makeup in that scene, especially when he's in the hospital, that little from the movie we're talking about, that chunk that's hanging from his neck, still to this day is one of the best. Like, it blows me away looking at that piece, and I don't know if it was intentional, but yes, it is. It definitely has an influence from American Werewolf in London for sure. Which I love that movie. But yeah, it definitely has an influence from that. But she is not a werewolf. She is just somebody who's had visions as a little kid. Mostly
that's her gift. She's got the visions to like an astral plane or that other dimensional plane, you know, going from one radio station bandwidth to another radio station bandwidth. I used to think, well, are there extra dimensions? But when you think about it, when you have radio channels, they all exist concurrently on different wavelengths. So who knows who's sitting right next to Brother Dio, trying to give him a little warning. You might be a couple of guys behind your back saying,
exactly. They're like, hey, lift the weights, man.
One of the guys telling you to get back on the gym wheel, you know?
Exactly.
That's a thought. We wonder who's standing behind us.
Yes.
On that note, I think we better move to the next slide.
Let's do it. This is the cover for issue 2, done by the always great Eduardo Herrera. And this is Murphy. I told him to, you know, do what you want. Just have Murphy on the cover. And this is Murphy jumping out of a tree. Just wearing his signature hoodie from his hitchhiking travels, and just wolfing out, you know, doing the Wolfman thing. That's one of the things that with this book, as a lover of horror, as we've already spoke, I love the old Hammer horror movies. So I love their
Hammer, classic Hammer horrors. We love them. Go on.
100%.
What's your favorite classic Hammer horror movie?
You know what? I couldn't even give you a name.
All of them.
All of them. I mean, I definitely Dracula above all. Christopher Lee's portrayal. I mean, I watched them you know, it's some people listen to music when they go to sleep. Sometimes I'll put on like an old, you know, Hammer horror flick, especially
Folks,
any of the
we're
tracks.
not surprised he just said that. Just
Yeah.
giving you some eye contact there, guy and person, woman, lady in the audience. Yeah, just tell it. Just saying, we're not surprised.
Exactly. But I love the
Or
old.
is it smooth radio? Just in case you're judging us. But for brother Dio, he's got the hammer thing when he's trying to get to sleep.
Exactly, because they're so, you know, it's not boom boom bang, you know, it's just gothic, you know, great, you know, slow burn, but always, you know, some punchy stuff, and I just love those flicks. But in saying that, I love the old werewolf, you know, the Wolfman that they have. And I also love, obviously, like we said, you know, American Werewolf in London and The Howling. I love those different variations of the werewolf. So in my story, if you're a lover of werewolves, I give you all of that. I give you, you know, the Wolfman aspect, because Murphy can control how he has. Crenshaw hadn't seen American Werewolf in London until most recently, so he had fresh
Did you
eyes.
not? Crenshaw.
He was not a fan, though. He was not a fan.
Not
He
a fan.
Yeah, no, yeah. He
Jenny Agutter and Blue Moon, that song.
I tell you what.
Remember the Alamo? We
Yes.
don't like your sort round here in Yorkshire on dark
So
misty nights.
So good. I love it. I love it. Yeah, such a great flick. And Jenny in that movie was gorgeous. I remember as a kid,
Man,
you know, the shower scene came on, and for some reason the TV went out. My family said, "Oh, it's the power." Now, I didn't realize this until almost 30 years later. They just turned that scene off, so I wouldn't see that. But we still watched the rest of the tearing apart and all that other stuff. So too funny. But in my story, I like to give everybody the my love of that monster, and I love every version of it. There's not one particular, you know, form of a werewolf that I love more than the other. So you'll see the bipedal giant, you know, howling type wolf running on all fours, or the different variations of the Wolfman. You know, I want to make it so you can always be interested, or keep it interesting rather, with the designs of the monster itself.
yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot my name. I think somebody mentioned Jenny Agutter and shower scene.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Kyle says, the viewer, turn on the next slide. Let the guy get on with telling you about his thing. Okay, we will do. Right, moving swiftly on. That shower scene, man, I tell you. Anyway, behaving ourselves. What we got here then?
This is from issue 2, and it's essentially our two heroines. Maureen and Sarah have fled a crazy scene that had happened at their house prior, and they are being pursued by this gentleman right here, who has the moniker of Hellbound, which you'll find out about later on. And he is, you know, is he friend or foe? They find out. But he is somebody who has sorcerer abilities. And here they are in the cornfield, where Mo has another vision that is more akin to what she had when she was younger, which is less of the gory, violent stuff, but more of a female figure that is more in the lines of somebody who is guiding her in the right way. Less of a shock value thing. So she's always seen women prior to what she's seeing right now, as we spoke of, because of, you know, the veil getting thinner, you know, thinner and thinner as this apocalyptic reckoning is on the forefront. So, which is, you know, this reckoning has happened over and over again. This is just another one in the long line of rebirth that the Earth has gone through, whether this Earth or another Earth, another dimension. It's all recorded within that tome. So,
well, what we're getting here, folks, is an in-depth storytelling preview, hints, teasing narratives from the creator, Dio, of the Tome of Reckoning. And it's giving you just a little bit of insight into the thought process of creating this narrative flow, of which is highly accomplished. Here's another one. Tell us a little bit about this one, Dio.
Sure. This is the one where, you know, they're both unsure about who this guy is. But as I said before, Mo has been seeing some violent stuff as of late. So for her to see a figure of of her mother, she is pretty sure that this might be, even though they're hallucinations of hers, this still gives her that feeling that maybe I should trust this guy. So she's going out on a limb here and giving this guy her full trust, because what had happened prior is definitely a lot scarier than how she's being treated right now. So she's on board with going with this guy somewhat, still a little bit wary. Whereas Sarah's like, what the hell is going on here? I don't see what you're seeing. I don't know who the hell this guy is.
We remember reading that and thinking, what's going to go here? Is she going to trust this guy? I mean, it's all pretty, you meet a stranger for the first time. It's like, it's almost like instinct.
Right.
Can I trust this person or can't I? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And she's at that point where she's definitely trusting him somewhat at this moment. But you'll see later on, she's a street smart girl as well, so she's not 100% all in with this dude, so to speak. But at this moment, she's trusting with her vision as much as she can, because she feels like everything's going crazy anyway. So she's also in a heightened state of panic a little bit. So she's calming down, and she's looking at her situation and realizing maybe it is best that I go with this guy right now. I'm trusting. I just lost my mother, a week ago. And to see her again is maybe turning turning the wrench a little bit and getting her to go towards this guy and open the world and push the story further.
Yes, indeed. I'll tell you what, we're going to go back and reread 1 and 2. We have a pretty strange way of reading comics. We don't always read them straight away. Then we do read them. We read them in pieces, because we're obviously aware that indie comic creators aren't going to put out 1 comic per month. It'd be nice if we could.
I wish.
But it's not like going into a comic shop and then Marvel and DC are going to be there every month, etc., etc. But when you decouple yourself from that pull list and open yourself to the vast array of talent and gold that's out there at the wild frontier of indie comics, we, in our view, we tend to treat indie comics like whiskey. We sip, we savor, we hold them up to the light, look at the beads on the interior of the glass. We really view it like that. Anybody who hasn't done the Edinburgh whiskey tour, you wanna at least twice, either single or with somebody else. It doesn't matter. Just go yourself. Anyway, yeah. So I'll tell you what. Yeah, tell us a bit about this.
Sure. This is the police station, the Hilliston police station in the story. From issue 1, you get the information that they are being closed down. So they are lightly manned at this point in time. They have 2 more days before it gets turned over to the state. They were closed down to some improper stuff. The original chief had been let go. And they're just trying to make it through till Sunday with no issues, in order to go about their business and go on to their new lives and their different positions somewhere else in the state in the police department. But they unfortunately are going to have a big problem coming up with Murphy arriving at the police station and further expanding upon Bo and his crew of dark mercenaries, wanting their prize, so to speak, which happens to be Murphy in this instance.
Alrighty then. We just like the way you do scene shifts, and then it's almost like you're pulling us in.
Awesome.
We get sucked in just like those 80 movies. The flow is like that. You get drawn in, then there's the sedgeways, and you throw that. Oh, there's a change of scene here, and it's just the readers. It's like kind of like let's wash, and then when you get into the real it's going down scene, and obviously you've got Murphy doing the head grip, and it's like, oh, I'm going somewhere. Yes, you also. We love that panel. And tell us about what's happening here then.
Sure. So at this point we have Bo and his group in a ship of some kind. This story takes place about 15-20 years in the future, so it's not too far. It's just far enough where I can maybe gather what we might be like in that time. So some things have happened, but they're in a ship that is relatively quiet for the size ship it is. It is a giant, well, not super giant, but a big enough ship that can house, a crew of people that are tethered to the ship, and they're trying to find
a strike force.
A strike force, exactly. Yes. So, and you find out more later on, and I think in issue 4 about what that strike force is, what it's tied to, and the misuse of that amount of power by some groups that aren't being watched as they should, but they're trying to find a way to get this guy out of the police station and into their custody for some reason, because it looks like they might have had a run-in with him before.
Yes, absolutely. And we like that idea of time shifting. I remember when we first watched Highlander, there was time shifting. We thought, what on earth's going on? But you learn to go back, and obviously the creator, the directors, and in yourself, an indie comic creator, a storyteller, there's the chance to go back and go deeper with the narrative each time and pick up things you might have missed earlier. That's the beauty of it. Like a hand. I think we do remember the hand, but if things come back to you and you think, oh yeah, there was that, and there was this, and there was that, and you're thinking, did they intend that? Do you know what I mean? Is he teasing us? Is he playing with us? Is he giving it the old Hitchcock with all the extra motifs and depth of storytelling? And you think, oh, that's cool.
Awesome.
All right, here we go. Here we go. It's got my favorite panel on. Here we go. I'm not going to say anything. I'm so excited. Brother Dio.
Yes. So at this point, so these guys are also using subsonic ammo at this point in the story, which is a quiet version of ammo. It's probably less punch to the bullet. So they don't want to kill this guy. They do want him alive. But as you can see, that's probably not going to go their way. So he has already jumped on one of the characters' bodies, and he is doing his thing, because prior to this, you'll find that he's reserved in a sense where he doesn't want to murder people. He doesn't want to do this stuff. He sort of just wants to be left the hell alone. But if you let it be known that you have ill intentions, then he does as well. So in this scene, he is he's letting loose on these guys a little bit. He's not in his big, huge form, but he's still pretty powerful in the form he's in, as you can see. And he's letting out some of that rage from having a gun pointed in his face.
Oh, this is Murphy Gray Hulk, not Murphy Green Big Gamma Hulk.
Exactly, 100%. Exactly, Mr. Fix-It, so to speak. So, and he's fixing it as much as he can in this moment. And he's also trying to scare everybody, I think, as much as he probably would if he was in the huge form. Not that this wouldn't be scary, but I think there's a little bit of a difference between an Eddie Munster looking type of character and the howling werewolf just, towering above you and snarling in your face.
So it's not just physical stuff. He actually plays mind games with the people he sorts out.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And it's also, and I think it was also in this scene as well, it's twofold, because he also didn't have maybe enough time to turn in to the huge guy, but it also is about just not really scaring the living daylights out of everybody that is not involved in the strike force, the strike team, so to speak. So in that scene, he's had enough, and he's taking out one of the guys when another gentleman starts butting the back of his gun on his back, and Murphy grabs it and says, "I don't think so." And as you can see, his hands and Murphy's POV is just going towards him and finally letting loose somewhat on these guys by grabbing his head and slamming him against that pole.
Yes, and we like the way he's taking a lead on some action and saying, "See, it hurts, doesn't it?"
Exactly.
Classic humor there. We love stuff like that. Oh, that is probably, we confess, brother, that is our favorite page. We just love that. When we saw you release that, and we were first getting into promoting and being positive and trying to look for stuff in the indie comics community to connect with, this, when we saw this, we were like, that Maguire line, you have me at hello?
Yes.
Just like that. Just like that. That's what we say. Just like that.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just, you got to concentrate on pressing all these little buttons, and you think, I just want to stare at the artwork, and zone out,
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Yes, indeed.
Yes, so this is issue 4's cover, and Ed Herrera did another great job on a new character that I introduced into the story. His name is Kelly. You find out more about him later on. It's not just he's been in the other book, but obviously he was masked up. So he was one of the strike force. You start to find out more about him in this issue, but this is Ed Herrera doing a great rendition of Kelly in his mask, and Jewel doing a hell of a job coloring it and giving it just it's colors that I wouldn't have chosen. And she just does it well. That's why I just love letting her do her thing and bringing these characters to life. But this is issue 3, which should have been, this is the one problem I've had with this campaign.
Go on, we're listening.
I'm sorry.
Go on, we're listening.
Oh yeah. So I wish it would have come out and printed earlier. So I feel bad for everybody that had backed it. It's coming soon. I should have the funds to add to the funds that I'm using, because I want to get a big print run. So every time I do a printing, I put my money into it as well. That's why I never try to charge for what I'm for my work. It's all in house. The only thing I pay for is Ed and Davison for the letters. I've had some troubles this past year, so I wasn't able to put towards the funds that I'd like to, and now I can. So we're going to be printing within, I think, the next 2 weeks, because I think the money's coming in, and we'll be getting it going. But unfortunately, I definitely was behind on this one, which I feel horrible about. But everybody that had backed issue 3, you get a free PDF of issue 4 as soon as I'm done with that. And I'm a 50% discount on the physical copy of issue 4, and I might even enlarge that later on. If I can get it funded pretty quickly, I might even just give people, the people who back this one, a bigger discount. But as it stands right now, I'm looking to give everybody who gets the physical copy that had backed this past issue a 50% discount. So I think the book will be going out for $250, I think, is what I'm looking for. So you'll be paying the price of like an old school comic plus shipping, which will be $5. So you're looking at $750 total. But everybody that backed the original 3rd issue will get a free PDF regardless, and then get a discounted tier for $250 for the physical copy if they choose. So just to show my appreciation and for everybody's patience, because they have been patient, and the first 2 books went out quickly. This 3rd one, we had a couple of kinks in the with the lettering. Davison's computer had
his computer fell over.
It did.
Yes,
and he's like one of the main letterers for Comixology right now, and he's great. I love that guy. He's awesome. So I felt terrible about that happened to him, and it also put us behind. So he lost all of my stuff and had to restart and do that again. And then after that, I had a couple of unfortunate instances with my work 2 times. So it really put a curveball in the funding, or not the funding, but the fulfilling of this issue. But that's the last time it'll happen. As soon as issue 4 is done lettering, the colors are being done right now by Jewel. Not literally right now, she's in the back with the girls, but she's almost done coloring issue 4, and that's over 40 pages of comic. And as soon as she's done coloring that, I'm going to send it to Davison, and as soon as I get the letters from him, then I'll hit start on the campaign, and we can just get it rolling and get it out as fast as possible. So this will be the last time, knock on wood, that I have this type of delay in production, because I do feel, I know everybody's spending, money's, it's hard earned, and I do appreciate the value of somebody's buck. So I feel horrible that it took this long to get this one out. That's why I was sitting on the PDF, since I think the digital since like maybe November. And I just was like, let me get this out here, just because I had to get it out, even though the book has taken a while. I want somebody to have something in their hands, whether it be on their computer or not, to actually be able to see the book. But this will be the last time I have a delay like this. And I really, anybody that's watching and you as well, as thank you for backing, and sorry about the delay, man. It's a bummer.
The delay was inconsequential to us. We appreciate your refined words. You're certainly a noble warrior.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Success and a very warm, supportive family behind you. These are the most important things. I think we all understand that the people doing indie comics don't have giant mega corporations behind them, and a great big pipeline of a support team to help them get problems with printers sorted out, and people have problems with their computers that they may fall over, and that life happens.
Yes.
And in your case, you are utterly transparent and even compensating people as you're saying you will do. I mean, that's nice and all, but you know, we would say don't punish yourself unduly, old son. You're a gentleman and a scholar and a creator with heart. And I think anybody in the indie comics community knows that you're a decent human being, and that you are highly regarded in the indie comics community. And I suspect that will increase going forwards.
Thank you, brother Az. I can't tell you thank you enough, man. Honestly, thank you very much for those words, brother.
No, your words are gold, and your actions speak for themselves.
Thank you.
Right then, what do we have next here? We have, again, we just arranged these panels just like this to show the sense of flow you have and location segue. I mean, it's just, it flows. Gosh, it's smoother than warm salted butter on a lovely summer's day. And get me some of that tiger bread, please. Or if Murphy's doing any baking, some Murphy bread.
Yes, indeed.
There's a merch for you.
Yes, that's
Murphy's bread.
That's
you want genuine Tome Of Reckoning oven baked bread.
So hair not included. Yeah, you know, this is from issue 4, and I like a lot of the stories that I like have different settings. You know, I don't like to be kept in the same place for too long. In a story, I love when you can, you know, show different settings and introduce different characters, and not keep it, you know, not keep it in the same location for a long time. You know, it's like
not too static.
Yes,
keep the dynamic going.
Yes, and Terminator 2 is a pretty big influence on storytelling for me. I don't know if how you feel about that flick, but there's so many different settings and scenes in that movie that just pop, and you just feel like you're moving along with it, and it just doesn't get stagnant, you know. And I try.
Terminator 1, seminal. Yes. Terminator 2, it's Judgment Day.
100%.
Both you can watch, you know, like Hammer and Anvil.
Yes,
yes. I mean, Arnie, he really gives it to us. A bit like our friend Brother Dio here, who also gives it to us in the way that we like, if you know what we're saying.
That's awesome. Yeah, Terminator 1 is one of my. It's a great horror movie in my eyes. I mean, it's essentially a slasher, you know, with a guy who's using a gun, and that's. I mean, as you can see with the police station scene, that was influential, as well as was Assault on Precinct 13.
Of course, I see it now. Yeah, go on.
Yes, you know, and Terminator 2 definitely informed my storytelling, and where it's one of those movies where there's so many different places and things that are happening. You're following the same cast of characters, but it's just giving you a different environment relatively often. And I like to do that with my stories, where it just, you know, bounces around and keeps it fresh as to where you're going to see these guys next. But yeah, that panel was I believe in Georgia. They're at a turnpike in Georgia. Murphy is with somebody, and then it's the third page is in Baltimore, Maryland, at BWI Airport, with the introduction of our character Samuel Shivers, who is seminal in this story, and you'll be seeing a lot about him in the coming the coming issues as well.
I'll tell you what, here there's a lovely comment by Crenshaw, FAO, and to back up your golden words, this is what he says as somebody who's back to As Our Good Selves. He says, and what we get after the wait is worth the wait as well. So, you know.
Thank you, Crenshaw. You're the man, buddy. I appreciate it, brother. Crenshaw actually has, speaking of storytelling, at some point in time, he'll let it out in the world, but he's got some stuff he's working on that I've read. And
is he?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's different.
It's intrigued. Looks a little green light on his camera.
Yeah.
Crenshaw, are you holding out on us? You hiding stuff, man?
He definitely is. And I think when it's ready, and when it's ready, it's just when he's, you know, ready to put it out there, it's going to be something that's awesome. He's got quite a few different things. I've read one completed issue of one of his stories, and it's awesome. Yeah, can't wait. Can't
There you
wait.
go. Crenshaw pending. We
Yes.
can't wait. And what we've got here, we've got more interior pages preview from Tome of Reckoning 3.
Yes, so this is Samuel Shivers, who's just got back from his deployment overseas. He works for a private security company, a PMC, and he is back talking to essentially his boss man right here before he heads home to see his family. And certain things happen in that office that push the story forward and open up this world and actually explain a little bit about more what's going on with Bo in the right page, where Bo is at a facility looking after one of the injured strike team who incurred a bite on his hand from Murphy in issue 2. So Bo's trying to put things together and figure out where he goes forward, and Sam's trying to piece together what has been happening since he's been gone, and you sort of get an idea of where this world is headed and what this strike team entails and essentially what it means for the story moving forward in the world of the Tome of Reckoning with this government agency.
What we like is the way that, we could automatically think that the government agency are bad guys, and they might well be. We don't, no spoilers here. But we like the fact that what you're doing, you're taking an ambiguous part of things. You're very neutral in as much as you're showing the point of view subjectively from each side of the battle.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to. There are villains in the story that are villains, but there's other people that might be, wrapped up in something. And even the villains, you see where they're coming from. It doesn't necessarily justify what they're doing, but you can see, why they're villains. And then there's other people who might be getting strung along. And I just want you to see, I don't want any of these characters. I try to make these characters not not one dimensional, rather. And hopefully it pays off that they, that they have lives, that they have goals and aspirations and hey, Genuine Comics.
Hey, Genuine Comics, Dave. Hello, how's
Sure.
it going? Good to have you in the house along with Crenshaw.
Dave's the man. Yeah, so it's one of those things where I just want my characters to actually breathe life. Whether you love them or hate them, you realize that they have lives and goals and ambitions and aren't just there for fodder's sake.
No. What we got here then?
That is
trade cover.
Yes.
Tell us more.
So that is the trade cover, essentially encapsulating issues 1 and 2. And it gives you a little bit of everything that was going on in those 2 stories. And the trade is, 72 pages of story. Yes, for sure. So yeah, I try to keep my issues a little bit bigger. I just enjoy that aspect of crowdfunding and indie storytelling, where I don't have to follow the guidelines of 20 pages. And issue 4 is over 40 pages. So issue 1, 2, and 3 are 36 issues. Or 36 pages rather, and the cover, it just sort of gives you a little taste of everything that was going on in those first 2 stories, and hopefully it'll drag you in and want you to read more and flip through those pages and see what's going on in the world of Reckoning.
As a fan of old noir black and white movies, we love the technique of montage, of including various overlapping elements in a dreamlike fashion to create this kind of composition that encapsulates the overall flavor, gestalt, and narrative of a creator's vision. And we love that. We think that's a terrific image there. And what a cover. Yeah, that's your trade cover. Yeah, what a cover.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That needs to be a poster or something.
Yeah, I would love to. I think I have it as a print that I had sent out to people in the first and second campaign. I believe in the second campaign I did. Yes. Yeah. So another one that Jewel colored that I'm really stoked on. I just love how she does her color stuff, because to me it's unique. I don't really see. I see other people doing color out there and doing stuff, but I definitely feel like she adds her own the lettering for sure. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, that is Davison, the work of Davison Manes, who is a Brazilian fellow who is the man, a great dude who actually has his own story as well. Justica Ciridal, which is I can't think of the English translation of it, but it's a sci-fi noir story it's beautiful, and I hope he gets back to telling that story again, because the artwork's amazing, but the story's great, and obviously he's the writer, and the lettering is amazing because he's the letterer. He just does great stuff for sure.
I'll tell you what, Dave's got Genuine Comics have got another comment here that we quite like. He says, that is some crisp art on your campaign, Dio.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that, brother. That means a lot coming from you. You got some great books out there. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he's, I tell you what, he's, he, along with you and a clutch of others, people have got really quality indie comics that are pushing the barriers of what people expect at the wild frontier of indie comics. I mean, you've got Dave with his Vanguard superhero keystone, that you can't do good superhero comics in indie comics. Oh yes, you can.
Right.
You can't have good horror comics in the indie comic scene. Oh yes, you can. You've got the Tome of Reckoning, and you've got Star Million's Dark Jewel, the Orium Saga, and what else you've got? You've got Wolf and Batsy.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, quality stuff out there, and it's we now have creative leaders that are leading by actions that speak louder than words. You know what I mean? And what we like about creators like Dave and Star Million and your good self, Brother Dale, is that you keep the drama inside the comics. That's what we like, drama inside the comics. All that other stuff, we don't care for it. It's just a waste of time, you know.
100%. You know, it's the reason I got into comics. You know, to escape the real world stuff, and that's what I want to focus on. You know, like I said before, I would be drawing this for myself, and I was for a long time before I let it out into the world. So I still would be, because that's what gets me. You know, that's my passion, and that's my escape, where I can actually.
Since you were 12.
I'm sorry.
This passion and escape since you were 12. Then, so this has been almost like a long personal journey for you then.
Yes, for sure. And you know, there's in the first issue of the Tome of Reckoning, I put out original drawings when I was 12. Murphy looked totally different. You know, it was definitely edgier and, like, you know, cool dude. You know, Hellbound looked different. And then it evolved over the years, and it was something that always stuck with me. Funny enough, you know, it used to be called Phantom Force. And I worked at a comic store when I was 15, I think, 15, 16, 13, around there. I worked there for a couple of years, and I was looking through previews, and I was like, oh, my comic Phantom Force, I hope to see it in there one day. And there was a comic called Phantom Force, and I was like, oh, man, that sucks. And I looked
Somebody else has got the name, god darn it.
Well, the cool thing was, it was Jack Kirby with it was
yes, of course, Kirby the King.
Yes. So I was like, oh man, I guess I was on to something good. So it changed the Reckoning for a while there, and then finally, you know, I settled on the Tome of Reckoning quite a while ago, when I finally ironed out the story. You know, so it's been burning a hole in my subconscious and my, you know, for a long time. You know, and from 12 to where I am now, I'm really glad that I waited as long as I did to put it together, because I think it's where it is, you know, thematically, where it wouldn't have been before. So it's definitely something that I'm stoked that I'm doing now. So
it's almost as we get older and we get a few miles on our shoulders, a few miles on the clock, as the car owner might say, that we can see those old horror movies from the 80s with a different insight, almost like the creators intended it to be that way. As you get older, you get different insights in life that you can bring to your 12-year-old self. You can look Janus like at the past. The 12-year-old can be yesterday next door to you, but then also your 29 self right next door to you as well, and you can be as one living in the present, thinking, right, how can we merge these two to create a vision and see if there's an audience for that? And you took that risk. You took that you've taken your passion of that 12-year-old. You've taken the courage of a more mature a man and creator, and you've brought it to market with a sense of flow and conviction. That the passion is all there on the pages in the books, you know, 3 and counting. Tell us about this original art merch. We thought, crikey, tell us about this. We do like strong, flowing cursive lines, and then those finer interior lines. We've got a thing for that kind of art.
Awesome. Well, this is a character that shows up in issue 4. It's from my love of the Hammer horror stuff, as you'll see when she's introduced. Awesome, dude. Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, Genuine Comics. Well done, Dave.
Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's a character that shows up in issue 4 and has a big part in this story as well. I think by the time we get to issue 6, you sort of see there's still other characters to be introduced, but as for the main world that you'll follow for the next a total of 10 to 15 issues. They're all there, so it's slowly introducing all these characters that all have something to do with each other. And she is a vampire lord, a vampiress lord, I guess you would say. And I can't wait to introduce her in the story because she's one of my favorites. Just a straight up bad dude, so to speak. With a great.
You buy this on the campaign on Fund My Comics? Can you buy this original art?
You can, yes. That is an original piece. It's 11 by 17. It's on there. It is. Yep.
Cool. I'll tell you what, that's one for people to check out. I do like that. It's we like the fact that you're introducing other characters and there's this dark spiraling unraveling of this ambiguous intrigue. Let's call it that. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, it's man, I tell you what. More to this than meets the eye, we think. Absolutely.
For sure. I hope it pays off. Yes. And here's
got print merch, dear.
Yes. So that's a print of Murphy that everybody that got the digital, I believe, I also sent the digital files for the print as well. But this is a print that'll be coming with everybody who ordered the book that was unlocked. It's a print of Murphy in his Wolfman form. Just being Murphy, with jewels, great colors on there.
I'll tell you what, those rich colors. I mean, tell us a bit more about Jewel. I mean, to have a husband and a wife team. I mean, you know what I mean? It's almost like you're in creative lockstep on life's journey, and you got a child, then you had another child, was it last year? Yes. And then you have to kind of, I'll say load balance, but you kind of have to evolve creatively when other things come to your life. You have to kind of manage all those things in life, you know what I mean? We've got it all on getting to sleep and getting up in the morning. And then we think, we better do some gym work because it's been a year, you know what I mean? And we have a lot of respect and admiration for noble warriors like yourself, who are kind of, you've got family and life commitments, a big family, and then you've got this creative passion you've had all your life. You want to get that out, and you know what I mean. It's tell us about how you manage and cope with all that.
I having a great partner. Jewel is not only an amazing colorist, she's a out of this world mother, and just an amazing partner who just goes above and beyond. We tend to stay home a lot, not for any other reason than we just enjoy each other's company. We go for walks, do all that fun stuff with the kids and this and that. But as for our safe space, it's home, man. Our oldest daughter, Dorothy, has a great imagination, and she's actually a killer artist. I might be a little biased, but I think she's actually ahead of the game when it comes to doing artwork and stuff. But she loves doing, being creative at the house. So, and June, our second baby, is going to be 1 in next month on the, I think the 5th. So early in the month, she'll be 1 year old, a 1 year old. But
happy birthday.
Thank you. She'll be stoked. So yeah, she's so it's just essentially just having a great partner and just a great family, that just loves to create and just do fun stuff at the house. We cook, we haven't we don't go out to eat. We both worked in restaurants for a long time. When we met.
Tell us more about that. You both worked in a restaurant. Did you meet in the restaurant?
We actually, she met when I was working at a restaurant. She had come in, and I think I'd waited on her a couple of times. And then she worked at a grocery store called Publix here in the States, in the south part of the States. She had seen me there, and then later on, after a few years, she started working at the same place I was at. So we had known each other for quite a while before we ever had a relationship like this. And I knew she did artwork. She actually had given me some artwork back in the day. And we just clicked. There was always something there, but nothing came of it. And then, long story short, after I think hey, Jewel, how long have we known each other? How long have we known each other?
Oh, I don't know, like 15
It's like 15, 20 years we've known each other.
Just
But
want to say a quick hello on the camera. Just give us a
Jewel, you
quick
wanna
wave.
come on
And if
real
she's
quick?
shy, don't bother. But you know,
I'm kind of in the middle of some baby stuff.
She's in the middle
oh,
of baby stuff.
okay, we understand. Jill, we love your coloring. If you can hear us, you're like the Lynn Varley of the indie comic scene. Just saying.
Awesome. I would definitely have to get her on one of these times. But that just goes to show you, you know, she's not only doing this coloring stuff, but she's, you know, just a heck of a mom, dude. Just being able to take care of all that stuff and not be, you know, not be tired and out of it. But yeah, so we knew each other for a while. We've been together for 7 years now. In this form, and we have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, but the whole thing is we love the home life, man. We haven't been out to eat in, I want to say 5 years. I cook all the time.
You're a bit of a chef yourself, obviously. You worked in a restaurant, so you've got that natural love and affinity with food.
I do, and more so for the family. Like when I lived by myself, I was a waiter at a lot of these places. And a manager at one, the place that we were at actually. But for me, if I was living by myself, I would be ordering food out, you know, because I don't care. But it's the love of the family that I do all this cooking for. She cooks as well, but I'd say 98% of the cooking. She does all the baking. She does amazing stuff like that. She can cook, but I love cooking for them. So every day is a new meal for the most part. And it's just one of those things where we just keep everything in the house. And it gives us that opportunity to, when we can find the time, especially for Jewel, more so her than myself, because she's busy right now with all that baby stuff. When she could find the time, we all just sit at our tablets. I do tablet now. I used to do traditional artwork. But with the kids running around, I don't want to have ink pots around and this and that. So now I've switched over to digital, and whenever we can find the time, we just create as much as we can when we're in the house. So.
Gosh, so many interjections we've got. So well done for honouring her as a mother, and we like the fact that you're home birds. It's something we can really relate to with our guiding star and those memories that we have of the past. And so we understand about home birds. It's a beautiful thing if you're really the right person who understands it, and you've got that synergy and that family, that extended family, which you seem to have got going as well. And also, we've got a question for you. We believe that somebody's really, if they have a love of others and like cooking as well, that love of cooking, that energy goes into the food, and it always tastes better than if somebody's in the mood. So tell us about that. Do you feel there's a bit of, you can put that loving energy into the food? It's a way of you loving and giving back to the people, your family, who support you and love you in return?
100%. You know, I cook out of love. You know, I would come home from work and start cooking, you know, from whatever job I had because of that love. And in saying that, I could make the same dish. Jewel can make the same dish that I would make, but for some reason, which is that love, it tastes better when she does it. You know, for her, she loves when I do it. When she does it, I love it when she does it. So it's definitely that love that goes into it. Because like I said, if it was just me by myself, burger, go to the fast food, I would be eating out, you know, or I'd be eating tuna fish every day and not doing anything else. So it's definitely that love that goes into it, which is something else from my aunt that I'd spoken of, who taught me.
Your auntie again, yes.
Yes, 100%. That whole Peter Parker vibe. You know, I lived with her when I was a little kid for, you know, a year or two. And, you know, I think we lived for 8 months in Greece. What's up, kiddo? And she's just an amazing cook. She's a little bit too old now to be doing all the cooking and stuff. But she had instilled that in me for that love of food and everything. So what's that?
What's your favorite meal, Dale, that you cook, that you make?
That I make? I don't know. What is
savory?
Oh, savory for sure. What do you think?
No, my favorite meal is sushi.
Jewel's favorite meal is sushi.
We like sushi.
Meal.
This is Jewel. This is Azrael.
Hey, Jewel.
This is part of the family. This is
part of the family. How's it going? We reckon you're the Lynn Varley of indie comics. Somebody else said that, and we thought we liked it so much we thought we'd quote it endlessly.
That's awesome. She definitely appreciates that. Jewel actually has her own. What's that, baby? Yeah, you can have some of those. She has her own book that she's working on as well. It's a.
Oh yes, tell us more. Give us maybe a clue if you can't reveal all now.
Well, my book is a children's book. So it's a imaginative world that a girl and a dog.
Cool. More the all ages market, which is actually ripe for the plucking. Actually, in the indie comics community, people keep saying they want more all ages books.
Oh, I think this is I can't wait till she won't post anything until she's ready. She's one of those, which is awesome. I just don't have that restraint, I don't think. But I can't wait till people see her designs on these characters because they're so. What's up, Dee? They're so they're so unique. He said hi. They're so unique that I can't wait till they can see what her characters look like. Man, they're awesome. So we're actually pushing forward on that right now as well. It's all.
Oh, wait a minute, we've got a comment here. Crenshaw's homing in on your turf here, brother Dio. Jewel, will she be available to colour other people's books, say about Mexican mythological characters? Crenshaw, you old smoothie, you.
You'll have to ask Jewel. But yeah, the book, what he's working on, hopefully soon. So yeah, Crenshaw. I think there's as soon as the baby gets a little older, which she is, it's gonna be a lot easier. So I think that might be a yes.
A little wave to Dio Youngling.
Yes, that is. This is Dorothy. Say hi.
Oh, Dorothy. Hello there.
This is our oldest. She is a great artist in her own right.
She's into art, eh?
Yeah, she does some cool stuff, man. What
does she like to draw?
Pretty much anything. I mean, she'll draw, just like her.
anything.
She does draw anything. I'll have to post some stuff she's drawn because it's literally she just does some really cool design stuff that and I'm just probably, listen, I'm a doting parent. So there's other parents who are probably like saying the same thing, but I honestly think she does some cool stuff. So I'll have to post some pictures of
we'd like to see that. I think we'd like to see that. And again, we like this family ethos you've got, the feeling, the energy and the love. So you've got your creative team, you've got Dionysus and the Tome Of Reckoning team. You've got Brother Dale as the creator, writer and artist. You got the Jewel Jones, who we're going to wave loads to, so she feels appreciated as the colorist. And you can see the color work here, how you've got the narrative flow in this montage here. Then we've got Jewel's coloring here, which is sublimely blended in, but it's got that kind of radiance, that kind of glow. And then you've got your letter man, and then your cover artist, Eduardo.
Yes. Yeah, it's a group that I can't say thanks enough to. And Priya Lannis had done the flatting on issue 2, which, she's a great flatter, but I think, working in house is just, stuff's tight. If I could, I would definitely have her on a book again, but I can't afford it right now. But she's a great flatter, but our little group of in-house artists, I can't be more thankful for, man. Direct family and our ones that you're my favorite too. I love you. And I didn't.
Oh, that's so sweet. We like having favorites. We like favorites.
Well, it's funny. The other one's my favorite as well. They're equally my favorite, but I'm her favorite daddy, which is all that matters. I think, right? I'm the only daddy, right? Yeah.
What does Jewel bake?
Jewel bakes everything, man. She's
bread. Pizza coming.
We're doing pizza in a little bit. As soon as we're done here, we're doing homemade pizza. She has her own pizza dough that she makes.
Everything for me.
Daddy
make everything for you, of course.
It's awesome. She's bread. I mean, cookies, cakes, anything you can imagine.
And I help make cookies.
You do help me make cookies. That one cookies you made were really
cookies as well. We love cookies. We think they're great.
For sure, but I need to cut down. The kids can have them, but I need to, it's gonna be one of those things where I can't have them on the treadmill, brother. But yeah, Jewel bakes everything. I'm talking artisanal breads.
I just say Julia too loud.
You do? Jewel.
We've got Sarah Grocott, our business mentor. Hello, Sarah Grocott. Thank you for the compliment. You flatter us.
Thank
the
you.
Real stars of this show are Brother Dio, the Gleaming Jewel. You've got to check out her colouring, Sarah.
For sure.
And our young star, Dorothy, who's going to be an artist.
On this part, they're supposed to be sour. They were.
My favourite cereal. She's got my favourite cereal. Hang on.
Fruit Loops? Yeah,
this is my favourite cereal.
We broke. He's taking your cereal. We broke and we cook everything, but you got to have some of those fun snacks too. So yeah, this is her. You always have them. Sometimes. But that group that we have goes back to the themes of the book as well, which is familial stuff, whether it's blood or not. I can't be more thankful for the creative team on this book that along myself and Jewel with Davison and Priya at one point in time, and Eduardo. So it's awesome.
Cool. Get rid of that. That's it. There we go. So then we are going to see if we can get this working for you. Share our screen. Here we go. Share. And we should put that on there. Right then, we need to show the Tome of Reckoning. Right.
Tablet. Yours.
Well, what do we say about that? Great job on the trailer there.
That was all Jewel. Thank you so much. That was her first
Jill
time.
makes the trailers as well.
Well, she made this one.
So she bakes cookies. She's a Lynn Varley of the indie comics community with a radiant colouring.
Yes.
Exotic as it is. And she makes the trailers for you.
That was
anything else she does for you? Are you holding out on us, Brother Dale? Come on, let's have it.
That was her first time making a trailer as well. So she took one for the team, was like, I'll do it for you, dude. So the next one hopefully is going to be even cooler. This one's cool, but she's so tech savvy with that type of stuff that I'm lucky because I'm a giant caveman. But yeah, super lucky guy, man. I can't say thank you enough to Jewel.
There you go. It's nice that you have that humility, you know, to me. And what we don't have enough in life, I think sometimes we don't have enough gratitude, and we like the warmth and the gratitude that you have and the humbleness as a creator. That always goes big with us, very much in the way we interact in the indie comics community. It's grace, gentleness, and generosity of spirit. You know, I mean, even if we're having a bad day, we want to share other creators who've got that belief and make them feel positive about that courage to go to market with their passion project.
And I think you said it. You know, even if you're having a bad day, it's not my place to put whatever stuff I have going on anybody else's shoulders. I think it's best to pay it forward and with smiles and happiness. You know, the world's we're not here for a long time. You know, so might as well make as good of a time as we can while we're here for people that you don't even know. You know, it's just that's how I feel. I'm with you, brother, for sure.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you, dear. We're only a little time it is, and we should make the most of it and have the courage to take the steps you yourself have taken. That is a golden message for the indie comics community. Be brave, creators everywhere. Be brave. Why do you create indie comics then? We know your creative journey with the Tome of Reckoning started when you're 12, but why do you create indie comics over like trying to work for Marvel or DC?
You know, when I was younger, and you know, the first year in Hubert School, I was trying to get in there. But even then, I still had pages of the Tome of Reckoning that was done prior, which I think I have in one of those books as a preview into where that world came from. And look, I wouldn't, I'd be lying to you if I said, I wouldn't take a job that paid really well with the indies or with the big two. But at the end of the day, from 12 years old to now, that's my passion. It's burning a hole in me. And whether, nobody's reading it or it's just me drawing it for myself, it's the reason I create is because I have stories to tell, so.
Stories to tell. And that's motivation itself, isn't it? You've got your calling as a creator. And it's good that you're trying to get out there and just answer that narrative calling. Hey, there's Dorothy. Hey, Dorothy, you going to be an artist like your dad one day, Dorothy?
What's that?
Hey, Dorothy, you going to be an artist like your dad one day?
You be an artist too?
Yeah.
I think you'll be a good artist. If you're anything like your dad and your mum, Yeah, I think you're going to be able to color, bake, cook, and draw, and you'll have narrative flow as well. I mean, dearie me, we've got basically legacy, protege. Oh, I mean, it's a creative family legacy. That's what this show's all about. This is so cool.
Awesome, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Hang on a minute. You know what they say, Jerry? Show me the money.
Yes.
Show me the money. Backing the Tome of Reckoning. How do we actually back the Tome of Reckoning, brother dear? Let's get some money rolling in for you guys.
Sure. So right now we have closed our Indiegogo campaign, and we are only up on Fund My Comic right now, which will be the initial launch site when we go for issue 4. It will be on Fund My Comic first and only. But as of right now, issue 3 is still up on Fund My Comic for digital backups, physical copies as well. And we're not doing physical to the first 2 issues. We did physical abroad, but it's just so expensive. I just feel bad. But I always want to put digital up there for anybody that wants to read them. Because nowadays, you know, as much as I love the tactile feel of comic books, I 100%, but I'm not going to lie, on an iPad, it's actually sort of nice reading them as well. I'll never just be strictly iPad, but it's not that bad on there. Maybe it's because I'm drawing them on there now.
What software? Sorry, we meant to ask this earlier. What software are you using on the iPad? You Procreate or something else?
Yeah,
Procreate. Oh man, that is Star Trek Art Shop. It's like the hologram of Art Shop. You've got all the tools in there. You don't have to go out and buy anything. You've got an infinite supply. Think of all that stuff you're saving on. No oil to smell the terps on or crack your fingernails. And
yes.
Villages of the ink bottle going over your drawing board. You've got it all in the Procreate, which has been going years. What an app.
Yep. Oh, 100%. You know, so, you know, I got the iPad for Jewel a couple of years ago for Christmas present, and she got the Procreate on there, which is, I think, $20.
What do you mean you buy one another tech presents as well?
Yes. Well, I got her the iPad. I always use her iPad now, which she's super sweet about. And, you know, later on, when the time comes and we're in that place, I'll definitely buy her a new one. But yeah, so she bought the Procreate and she was like, you should really try this out. And I was like, I don't think I can, you know, translate how I draw on there just because I'm an idiot. But it works. You know, I mean, I think I'm getting the same style that I had when I was drawing on paper and pen, but I'm not, like you said, spilling the ink bottle everywhere. You know, it's with little kids running around, it's sort of hard to be able to do that on the board. When I did draw, traditionally, I use a lap board. So I would sit on the couch and just draw like that. So it's really so much easier now with a small little iPad to get the same type of stuff that I was doing earlier with less fuss and quicker turnaround too. So yeah, it's awesome, man. I love it. The Procreate.
Have you got a screen protector on to get that more kind of like drag of like a paper matte surface? So I'm a bit nerdy here, art nerdy.
No, I don't. And I think if I'd had that initially, I might have been drawn to it even quicker. But no,
it's a bit like ice skating if you're just on the glass.
It is, but that's how I do it. The first piece I ever did digitally is actually the werewolf piece that's on this campaign, the big one, the moon and stuff. I just was like sketching one day. We had gone to see her mother, and I was just sketching and messing around. I was like, oh man, this is actually sort of fun. So that was the first thing I had done, was the huge werewolf jumping amongst the vampires with the full moon behind him. And yeah, it is like drawing on, like you're saying, like it's ice skating, but I'm used to it now, to where I think had I had that tactile cover that makes it feel a little bit more paper, like grit, I would have enjoyed it. But now I'm so used to this, I don't want to mess it up and do something else. You know what I mean?
Interesting. That's in exclusive insight you're getting right here on the 5 Pillars of Storytelling live show, folks. I mean, you're getting all the trade secrets here from Brother Deer. We're diving deep, man. You know, we're taking the time to listen to this guy, to let his journey unfold. You know, it's not just about buy these books, but having said that, here's some small mocker, some medium mocker, and large mocker. You know, you go into Costco or other coffee shops, you can have small, medium, large. And if you're in the UK or international and paper shipping is expensive, what we've got here through our lens of looking at it on For My Comic, we've got issue 3 as a PDF still up there. We're sure that the physical and the trade of 1 and 2 will be available soon. We've got in the middle, we've got the trade 1 and 2 plus 3. You can get that as digital, so you can catch these up as digitals. and we've got trade 1 and 2 physical. And if you want the big boy, you've got the original, exclusive, unique, only one of these in existence, pending character of sultry vampirical darkness. Brother Dio, tell us about the small, medium, and large of your marker.
Sure. So the small is the single issue, which is physical. I'm trying to think what the price was on there. I can't remember, but it's so the small one is 36 pages of story, no filler. And it's the 3rd entry in the World of Reckoning. And then the larger one
36
is
pages. Are you saying you've almost got twice the amount of pages as a Marvel or DC book, Brother Dio?
100%. So you get, hopefully you get your money's worth. I try to pack in as much story as I can, as much heart and character as well. And then the larger one is the trade of issue 1 and 2, which is a total of 72 pages of full story. So you get, 138 pages, or excuse me, 108 pages rather of story for the combined larger tiers.
I'm just replying to Crenshaw. Trying to type actually when you're live is quite, even if you can touch stuff, it's quite tricky when you're live. The multitasking. Guys, multitasking. Don't you having a laugh, Azrael? You can't multitask. You're faking it. We've got a compliment for you. And it's down to that guy Crenshaw again. He's got a great, actually, review voice. We told him when we replied to him next. That's your strength. Get a little modest schedule going and make sure the reviews are in there. You know when somebody's got a strength at something and you sense it straight away?
Right.
Not me, him, Azrael. Check out the detail on those vampires, and that's the polite version of that.
Yes, and he does have a great voice, man. He's got and his reviews are so concise and just to the point, and just spot on, man. I love his reviews because they're to the point. They're not too long. They're not too short. But just right enough where you get all the ins and outs of whatever story he's reviewing at the time. So yeah, Crenshaw's the man.
Yeah, he's video haiku. That's what we think. He just nails it. Video haiku.
That's a great way to put it. That's awesome.
Right, well, we're all trying to behave ourselves. Right, what's our next one here? We couldn't resist having seen that vampire lady. We thought, you know what we've got to do? We've got to show more Dio original artwork, and we've got this.
Yes. So those pages were up on I believe on the Indiegogo, but they are no longer up. They're down. But this is a double page spread from issue 1 with the introduction of Hellbound. It's more of an, he appears on the page prior, but you actually get to see what he looks like here. And Murphy getting his butt kicked. And then the second page is the single page from issue 2, where Murphy is finally being able to let loose on that strike team that has been on his butt for the last couple of days or so.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to have my thumb in his mouth.
No, no,
we keep this show clean. All we can say is that we don't want to be that thumb, if you know what we're saying.
Yeah, he definitely was able to let go some of that aggression that he's been holding on to for quite a bit there. So pardon me for one moment. I want to plug in my charger.
No problem. And here we've got another couple of original. You know what I want to ask, Brother Dio folks in the audience? Yes, you folks. I'm looking at the green light right now. I can see you. I can see you looking at me. How strange is that? We didn't know that. They can look at us as well as us looking at. Anyway, we've got 2 lovely pieces of original artwork here, including one of our favorites of Murphy. Are these available for sale if somebody wants to contact you and grab themselves an original art piece of bargain?
Not at the moment. I might put them back up later on. Jewel told me to take them down. She's like, just keep them. I like those pages.
Well, it might be good to keep 1 or 2 of your favorite pieces if they're part of that successful milestone in your journey, and maybe let the value of them increase as further issues come out, issue 4 and 5 presumably, and others.
Right.
And as the popularity of your book increases, you never know, it might be like an investment.
For sure. And I think even at that point, she would still tell me not to. She just loves seeing them. I think it's just one of those things, almost like a photo album for her. So she remembers where they were done, and they're sort of sentimental to her. So I think that's one of the reasons why she just wants to keep them, you know. So it might change later on.
Just wonder, might be nice to have them framed and up. If you shall ask them that, you know, they are a couple of beautiful pieces there. Just
thank you so
we
much.
like your artwork. It's so refined. There's the elegance there, stuff that we like on a personal level. I mean, from noir to now and all the bits in between, we like stuff that's elegant and they got that almost gentlemanliness, you know what I mean? You know, there's love and tenderness and care, TLC in that line work. And I tell you what, might be nice to see those around the house. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, I think she might be on something, your Jewel.
Well, you know, I'd love to have like a little creative space for us at some point in time. So that might be cool to have both of our artworks just hanging up and doing that.
Like Kirby did it with his pieces, you know?
For sure. And so that werewolf piece was one of the first pieces I did where I actually had a prescription for my glasses. I was drawing fairly foggy on the pages prior, so I couldn't see well for my artwork. And this is the first one that I actually had where you can tell it's a little bit tighter than the others. And it's also the first piece of artwork that I had colored myself under Jewel's tutelage and holding my hand. So I still don't, but I colored that one for the most part. And she helped me along with the coloring on that too. So.
Oh man, just look at that, folks. You're getting, just, you know, I tell you what, you're going to have to make him one a hell of enough to get those away from Jewel. The custodian of Dio's artistic legacy, by the looks of things. I'd like to see those with mounts and framed and on your wall, man. I mean, tell you what, look at them. Just look at them. I think there's, what do you say? Look at those two. I mean, look at them, man. Just look at them. Folks, are you looking at it? Oh man, I tell you, this is where it's difficult to be a host because you've got to stop looking at something and then you've got to kind of go to the next slide and then you don't want to. You want to linger, you know what I mean? You got to linger, man. You know what I mean?
So they're sitting in their.
Oh, here we go. Full screen mode. Here we go. Wait a minute. Full screen. 1 second, sir. 1 second. Let's get you back on. Here we go. All right. Oh yeah, look at that. I tell you what, they should be framed. Mounted, framed on the walls. Is this your portfolio, Brother Dio?
It is, yes. This is.
Hey man, we've got Brother Dio's portfolio live on air. I mean, come on, that is completely cool. I'm getting excited. I have to calm down. Just man,
stuff from issue 4.
Is that a preview of issue 4? We're going to ask if you could show us any previews. We're going to be a bit cheeky and ask, but you've shown us a little tidbit from issue 4. Oh man, we've got exclusives galore.
We'll show a little action from issue 4, and then we'll probably call it a day on that. But here's
all right, there we go. No spoilers, but just a tantalizing increase. Look at that preview. It's going down in 4. Yes. You know what we say? You know what the chant is? We want 4. That's the chant.
I definitely want to get it out there for you guys for sure. So.
Right then, we're moving along now to what advice would you give aspiring creators? We listen, we learn, and we share on the show. We've learned so much from how you work as a team, how you employ others within the family. You can actually save costs. You outsource a little bit. You know what I mean? You think about printing. You think about shipping and what your solutions to those things might be. What advice would you give aspiring creators who want to get out there? Because obviously this show is for creative families, children and adults who might want to progress their work at different stages, whether you're young Charlotte or whether you're the father Dio.
I would say just put your passion into it. And I know it's a cheesy thing to say, but if you're not passionate about what you're putting out, I guess you shouldn't expect anybody else to be. And not only that, it just seems so fulfilling to sit at the drawing board or the keyboard and write and or draw or, create in any aspect, something that you want to do for yourself. So I think first and foremost, make sure you're creating for yourself. There'll be somebody out there that's, we're not living in a vacuum. There's somebody else out there that'll share, what passions you have as well. So just try to do it for yourself, try to create for yourself just as a cathartic way to spend time. That's the only thing I could really think of is just try to create for yourself and make it as authentic as you can to yourself. I don't think anybody's creating anything that's 100% original. I think it's sort of hard to after, so many stories have been told. But I think if you put your passion into it and your loves and what drives you as a creator, whether it be, like I said, writing or drawing, just stay true to yourself and just make it so it's something that you, like I said before, if I wasn't doing this for anybody else, I was doing it for myself. I would still be, flicking through this book and creating this world. So just try to do something that you're passionate about and that you want to really put down on paper and or the keyboard.
I'll tell you what, sage words indeed. And I have to say, actually, before we go on to our next question here, we've got Crenshaw saying, just with a sneak previews of Tome of Reckoning 4, he says, cool stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, brother.
And we've got John Long. Welcome, John Long, a winner of an award we're here for a very cool indie web concept. And he says, great advice you've just given there, to me. And it's creators can share advice with other creators. We're always learning. We view ourselves as a lifelong student, to me.
For sure.
And we just wish we had stuff like this Star Trek technology around when we were 8 and teenagers and trying to get advice. And the fact that the indie comics community can set itself apart from the corporate world by sharing, and a rising tide lifts all boats.
For sure. And it's pretty cool to make this world a little bit smaller where we can all actually interact like this. John, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Right, and what superhero then, brother dear, would you be?
I think I would love to be Spider-Man. If I could be a superhero, I think I would do the Spider-Man thing.
Why Spidey?
Why Spidey? Just the swinging. I think having.
Did you say swinging? Would you care to clarify that for everybody in the audience?
Yes, on webs.
Azrael, behave yourself.
Yes, otherwise Jules going to come out here and smack me with her spider powers.
Let's move swiftly on. So it's the swinging on the web line aspect, to mean
sure.
the aerial acrobatics of Spidey, yes?
For sure. And I think that also boils down to me living with my aunt for a while as a kid. So I had that Peter Parker aunt dynamic where she was an older aunt, always seemed that she was older. And, not until now I realized she's 97, 98 right now.
She's 97. Crikey. She must have one hell of a good diet. Is that the Greek Mediterranean diet?
It is. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm half Greek and half Irish, so mine's a crapshoot. Who knows what's going to happen? My dad still has
Greek, half Irish. I think you and me have a great amount of overlap.
I was going to say we do.
A lot.
Yes, for sure. So that's why I said you could definitely be adopted into the family. You might already be in there.
I'm putting my application in after the show.
And my dad's 95. He's
95, crikey.
Crazy. But, I think Spider-Man for me boils down to just that dynamic with the aunt. I always, really identified with that as well. And just the fact that, the Spidey that I grew up with was just such a heroic dude who always wanted to do the right thing. And I can really identify with that. I always try to be as good of a person as I can be. We all have our faults. But it's one of those things where I just, like what I said earlier, I feel like we should give out good into the world. And that's why Spidey, just Spidey's one of those characters always resonated with me.
A very human character, and we obviously like the work of Ditko and Ramai to respect. And Ross Andrew was the guy who we were striving to think of at the time. Ross Andrew, he just had a way of making Spidey's eyes. You've got a full mask, so you can't see the face. How do you emote through the mask? He seemed to be able to emote Spidey's emotions through the mask.
Right.
And then obviously we like John Romita Jr. Who was your kind of key Spidey artist?
For me, Romita Sr. Definitely top tier for me. But also Junior Bagley, because I loved him on the Spider-Man run. Doesn't just boil down to one. Even Larson, and then of course McFarlane. McFarlane was also a huge dude, just because it was so different at the time. The spaghetti webbing, the darkness of when he was doing his own run, not necessarily the amazing stuff, but it was doing Spider-Man. It was just so dark and creepy, and I loved his artwork on that run as well. So for me, it runs the gamut from Ditko to be honest with you, I think all those greats just compiled to me for
It
a
brought Summit to that role, didn't they?
for
I'm
sure.
just thinking, when you say dark, actually, we've got this theory that Gwen Stacy, after that, he would have been dark.
Oh, yes.
If he lost the love of his life, that's why you wear the black costume.
For sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a huge loss, to think you had gained the victory by catching her with your web and then finding out that you actually had snapped her neck. Of course, that's going to make him go down a dark path. But in the same token, to see him rise up above and still be, the heroic character after all that loss is just what really drew me to Spider-Man as a kid and a young adult. Not now.
Of course, yes. I mean, it's the hero's journey, isn't it?
It is.
Spidey's always been such an empathic character. That's why he's been universally popular. There's 8 billion unique people on this planet, and they've all got emotions and how they feel. And Spidey seems to cover that broad spectrum of that inner humanity. You know what I mean? We can't see his face, but we understand about Peter Parker, a hero having problems, that nephew aunt relationship, all that business.
For
bonus
sure.
questions, brother dear. We've got a bonus round for you. So then, what have we got for you? Questions, man.
Let's see.
We couldn't resist this one. What got you into comics, and what's that? Is that a bit of the old Wealth by Night Mike Pluginness?
That's some good stuff, man. I had gotten into the Werewolf by Night later on. I think it had escaped me, but I figured out. I found out about Werewolf by Night when I got into that Ghost Rider run by Teixeira, and who wrote it? I can't remember. But I don't know if you remember not the old, but it was like the later Ghost Rider run with Danny Ketch. But yeah, Werewolf by Night was great. I also loved Evil Ernie was a big love of mine as a kid too. But getting into comics was literally just that first time of seeing Batman on the shelf at that little kiosk in MGM Studios, and my dad bought it for me, and I read it on the ride home, and from there on out, I was eating them up, man. Finding my local comic shop and just going and just buying everything I could to have a collection that is no longer with me, but still with me, dear and near in my heart.
We sold our collection all those years ago. Fool's Gold, man. I can't believe we did that. Honestly, we never recovered from that. You know what I mean? I remember the guiding star saying to us, "Are you sure you want to do this?" A bit like Kal-El's mother in Superman 2, because you're warned. There's no going back.
That's true. That's true. And it's funny. I didn't sell mine. Unfortunately, I had gone through a breakup, and I moved out of to a different state, and I had the books with me, and I just couldn't drag them along. It was only one long box, because it was not a huge, but it was dear to me. And I had a couple of Lucy's around that I still have to this day, but it just got lost in the mix and gone. So whoever has them, I hope they're taking care of them. I hope they love them as much as I did, and hopefully it brings them as much joy as it did for me reading them back in the day.
Well, we have to say we're amazed by your positive take on that. We're currently thinking about our long lost and beloved comic collection, and we've adopted that kind of John Buscema forlorn silver surfer kind of Dantean pose of forlorn regret, But
awesome.
we admire you for being the bigger man, dear. That's why we had you on the show.
Well, that's why I start working out too. I don't want to be figuratively, and I don't want to be the bigger man too much longer. But no, yeah. Thanks, brother.
What about what do you like about indie comics? And we've alluded to this before. Then, what do you like about indie comics?
The freedom to tell whatever story you want. The freedom to do it at with your vision, without any oversight. And the fact that so many people are putting out amazing books out there. Dave Brank, John Longbox, Patrick Parnell, just so many people out there that are just doing such unique stuff to the genre, and you can just do whatever the heck you want, and you're just not held back by any constraints that you would be had it been under a corporate eye. So yeah, I just love it.
Absolutely. We agree with you on point. Right then, number 8. What are your plans for the Tome of Reckoning going forwards? And we suspect there might be a 4 in the offing, folks. We want 4. We want it, man. Show us the money, man.
I would say,
what's your plans for Tome of Reckoning going forwards? Then we've had a little preview, if you've been watching, our brother Dear's artwork from his own portfolio. Crikey, we thought that would be in a vault, actually. You might have to, shall we say, hire some security after this show, but we suspect with Murphy in the house, he probably doesn't need to hire a security team. If you remember what happened to our actually people that we sent out there to actually do some reconnaissance on a deal, only one of them got back and told us basically to do our own kind of shakedown in future.
The other ones are actually eating well here right now. I'm going to be cooking them dinner tonight. The reconnaissance guys. Yeah, going forward, I just keep on. I'm planning to expand the world and hopefully make an engaging story that people want to come along on the ride for, and get to the end that I think is satisfying. Just a really satisfying conclusion. I think that ties into the whole idea of the familial aspect of the story. That it not to sound it gets me choked up when I think about the end of the story. And I know Julie brings a tear to her eye when she knows the full story from beginning to end, and she gets teary-eyed when I tell her about it because she's a sucker for that type of story. And I hope people just come along for the ride, and just super thankful for everybody that's come along thus far and treated me so well with grace and understanding, especially with this third issue. But just been great people to really keep this vision going forward. So I hope they come along and are happy with where the story goes and everything that's preceded it. So
it's really great that your other half, Jewel, is actually into your story as well, and you're sharing that together as a team, and she's the colorist on your book. I mean, to have that synaptic bridge between a couple, I mean, that's such a positive experience and an advocacy of anybody who wants that great level of intimacy in a marriage. You know what I mean? That goes beyond just the obvious of how people look, but
right.
That kind of deeper understanding of people and where they're coming from creatively. I think that's a beautiful message to anybody out there in the indie comics community. The husband and wife team. It's. I mean, people talk about the kind of like dramatic aspects in the community, but this to me is gold. This is how you build your audience, by having a family team around you, and you have almost like a family friendship tribe around you, but a tribe that's I don't want to use the word inclusive, but you're all on the kind of same mindset, share the same values.
For sure. I mean, I count my blessings every day, because we've all been through, I've been through, relationships in the past, not many, but the ones were nothing compared to what we share, as a family, as parents and creatively. I mean, I couldn't ask for more, dude. Like, it's insane. We have the same likes, we have the same, aspirations, and just to have somebody who is as cool as her, who's a homebody, like we talked about, like you are, who just, this is our space, man. We love it. It's about family, and just to be able to sit at home and not twiddle our thumbs and be like, what the hell are we going to do next? We know what we're going to do. We're going to cook. We're going to hang out with the family. We're going to, do this and that. And the next thing you know, we're doing artwork when the kids are asleep. So it's awesome. I so thankful, man, for what I have at home, that, no matter what happens, I said I had a rough year. It didn't matter. I have such a strong base at home that it's just, without them, it would have been a pain in the ass. But with them, it's just something that we work through, and it's really, it's just, I'm in a good spot, man, with the family creatively and where we're at. I can't be, I can't say thank you enough.
Brother dear, we don't smile often, but you made us smile.
Awesome. You got a good one.
That's all we can say on that one. Those words, gold, heavenly.
Thank you, brother.
Paradise. Right, as we draw towards the end of this interview, because we've taken up a lot of your valuable time, and we know you've got to cook, and we wish we were there for the cooking alone. We've got a few final questions. What is your favorite pizza?
Okay, can I have more than just one?
Oh, we're not going to limit you to just one, with Murphy just sitting right next to you.
Perfect.
What, we crazy?
Okay, so my favorite pizza is traditional New York style tomato and cheese, which we're making tonight. Jewel actually has the doughs already. Preheated. We got this pizza stone in there. It's perfect. So it's going to be super hot by the time I put it in there. It'll crisp up. So for me, just a regular cheese and tomato pie. But we also do a special pie with caramelized pears, goat cheese, caramelized onions, mozzarella cheese.
Keep going.
No sauce, just olive oil base. And then you put arugula salad on top, and you just eat it like that, which is a super good one. That's one of Jewel's favorites. I make it for her, but it's actually one of my favorites as well. So I would say for both of us, it would be the gorgonzola pear for her. And for me, it's just a plain cheese and tomato pie.
I'll tell you what, after this show, folks, we're going to either chew on our arm or ankle or any other body part. We're getting really hungry right now. So that's all we're concerned about. After that, I mean, I tell you what, we were going to be a bit naughty and ask you what chat-up line you used on Jewel, but it's clearly with what you've just said, we needn't ask any obvious questions. I mean, I tell you what.
You know what? I'll tell you what it was. Do you want to come over and draw?
Oh,
yeah, and because we didn't know each other for years. We knew we were artists, and after a while, because she moved back into town from North Carolina, she's like, "Do you want to get together? Get together and draw?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And then from there on out, we've been together as a couple, and then shortly thereafter as a family. So yeah, it's awesome, man.
God bless you, brother dear.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
What can we say?
Awesome.
It's not often we get stuck for words, as you might realize. We were just thinking, man, what do you say to that? We just enjoy the moment, man. Right. Extra dear bonus question. We couldn't resist this one. Number 10. Top 3 werewolf movies, horror films, directors, authors, books, and creators. And don't let any of the imagery on this screen influence your choice, Master Dear.
I will not. I will say American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah.
And these are all the same tier.
Jenny.
Jenny, of course. Silver Bullet.
Oh yes.
And The Howling. Those are my top 3. 100 and in no order. There's no ranking there. All just top 3.
We like that. What a mature answer, and yes, yes. I mean, crikey.
I've been waiting for the Howling remake. They've been talking, or rather,
have they?
Yeah. So the guy, what the heck's his name? Muschietti, the guy who directed the last Flash movie that was out. I think his name is David Muschietti. I can't remember his first name right now, but he's a horror director. He directed the It movies, the remakes of the readaptations of the It movies. He was actually signed up to do The Howling before he got dragged into the DC universe, and I'm still waiting on that. It's an adaptation of the book, The Howling, and it was supposed to be out already, but apparently he's still on board to do it. So keep an eye out for that. He's going to be doing another adaptation of The Howling. So I'm really excited to see where that goes, because we know how the sequels went, and the original still holds up as the best one out of that franchise.
Oh, of course. We think so. Absolutely. Yes. The original is certainly best in that case. We do have Bianca Yamakoshi in the house, Dark Blade artist, one of the winners of the 5 Pillars of Storytelling Recognition Awards for awesome. 2024. She's got great pencil work. It's very intensive. She's got pensive, dark, sharp samurai inking, and her storytelling is unique, warm style. It's very distinct. It's different from anything else that we've seen. So our Indie Comics Awards, which you, brother dear, were a recipient of, a good clutch for, we might add, I mean, just, it's, what were they all about? Listen, we're not a corporate committee on giving out awards to what's most popular. All we're doing is saying, we connected with this seminal connection to people who, whether it's good art, good comics, a good movie even, or a good toy, or people who, there's even people that do their own like photo shoots of the toys they have, the collections and that. They set up narrative scenes and that, and we think all stuff like that's cool. And it's all part of the 5 Pillars of Storytelling. It's almost like a narrative thread that goes through the eye of all those needles. Right. So we see them as 5 different things, but they are as one, yeah?
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, I mean, we like to celebrate storytelling in all its forms. Obviously, we have a tight focus on indie comics. So, hello, Bianca, and keep up with the good work. I mean, she's getting her popularity is growing, and her work is improving all the time. We certainly,
Awesome.
it certainly catches the eye. Very unique.
Sweet.
And we've also got somebody else made a comment. Oh yeah, Crenshaw, you old smoothie, what are you doing? Whenever Dio and I get to meet him in the real world, he's making the pizza for me, right? It could be, hey Crenshaw, don't you step in front of me. You better bring me along for the ride, man. You know, I want my pizza too. Meat feast, an old cheese fest. It could be ham and pineapple, though I might get nailed to the cross upside down. Some people don't like ham and pineapple. Actually, what we would like is maybe a thin and crispy chicken and mushroom. We used to make our own up at the local supermarket back when you could like a kind of a 10-pence mix, but for pizzas.
Right. Oh, listen, if I had my way, I'd have you both sitting here in the living room right now watching some TV with a drink in your hand while I made some pizza for both of you guys. So if we can make that happen at some point in time, that would be awesome. And as for the ham and pineapple, I am a firm believer in pineapple belongs on pizza if you want it, and I do. So I like the ham and pineapple, brother.
There you go, pineapple smackdowners. You've heard it. You're going to mess with Brother Dio Murphy. Pineapple's going on the pizza. It's going on the pizza, yeah? All of a sudden I feel vindicated. I no longer feel lost and alone. There's somebody else out there like that can cope with ham and pineapple. There you go. You know, the interview was worth doing just for that. I feel released. I feel released. Right, then let's move on. I had to hide that one. All right, here we go. We have what's next. We couldn't resist this final question. I think it's the final question. More deal bonus questions. Number 11. How cool is this Howling merch? And you know what we want? We want merch just like this.
Oh, yes. I love this figure. Do you have it?
I don't, but I know a few people have already stepped in there, and we're thinking maybe we might one day.
I don't buy a lot of stuff for myself. I just don't. It's just not one of those things that I do. I still have the same cell phone that I've had for probably the past like 8 years, 7 years. You know, I don't buy shoes for myself. It's just not one of those guys. But in saying that, I want this figure. It'll probably be the only thing I would probably buy for myself in that sense of a fun, you know, thing. Because, you know, other than that, I get lost in my world doing the books. But this, as soon as I saw this on Bleeding Cool, or what was it? Not Bleeding Cool, bloodydisgusting.com. They had shown this. I was like, dude, I want this figure so bad. So yes, it is cool. It is way cool. It looks like the old, actual, original, you know, scene where Eddie turns into the werewolf in that little doctor's room. So yes, that figure is beyond cool. I don't know if you've seen somebody upholstered the whole original, you know, statue werewolf, the actual prosthetic werewolf. I think it might have been like K&B or one of those guys had redone it, and it's online. It's a picture of Dee Wallace sitting next to it so many years later, and it looks amazing. That's what the figure looks like. It's awesome, man. I would love to have that figure for sure.
All right, I'll tell you what. Did you see that picture of the life-size one? Actually, from the movie, is that what we're talking about?
Oh yes, that's the one.
Yeah, we sort of thought, wow, that's the movie. Us standing next to him. It was it was completely blew me away. Get my words out.
And scare, one of the best werewolves still ever. I mean, that design for that werewolf is.
We're kind of Universal, old school, and then when the Howling came along, it just blew us away. It completely redefined werewolves for us.
For sure.
And obviously, American Werewolf in London as well. You know what I mean? Just the kind of extended cosmology of what happens if you become a werewolf.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
And you know, I love the design of American Werewolf in London, but for me, I like the bipedal. It's just
and bipedal as well, yeah.
Yeah, it turns because it's more of Wolf Man. You know what I mean? Which I still
Wolf Man, absolutely, yeah. And it's more that kind of original, universal kind of classic bipedal kind of werewolf, isn't it?
For sure. And like you said, you know, it blew me away seeing that for the first time, because prior to that, all we had was the Wolfman, which I still love. And I still love that design, but to see it just expanded upon so much into such a feral creature and scary as all get out, man. Yeah, I love that design for a werewolf. It's insane.
There you go, folks. As I look into the green light, we're talking hardcore lycanthropy here. Only on the 5 pillars of storytelling life. Nods. Oh yes.
Yes.
Right then. He knows what we're talking about here.
Heck yeah.
Listen, as we draw to a close, Brother Dale, number 12, where can we find out more info about you? Where can we contact you? Where can we buy your stuff? Where can we crowdfund you? How can we guarantee that we want 4? How can we guarantee that future issues of the Tome of Reckoning are going to happen, and to actually keep you going and energized? Although we suspect you're going to do it whether people buy it or not, and we like that. That's what we call conviction, passion, courage, and conviction. He's got the Trinity, man.
For sure. I'm still going to be cranking away at this thing regardless. But you can find me on X, Twitter X at Reckoning Comics. You can also find me on Instagram at DJA_Dionysius. I am on Facebook, I think, as Dionysius, and it's artwork. You can find it there. But other than that, I'll be posting any news that I have. Like I said, within the next 2 weeks, we should be going to print on issue 3. And as soon as those are out the door and in people's hands, or at least, close to people's hands, then I'll put out a list to sign up for issue 4. And issue 4 should be done by that point in time. If it's not, it won't go live. But as soon as that's live, I would assume maybe a month or so after that, we'll go live on that. And I'm working on issue 5's pencils right now. So and we're almost halfway through with 5.
Wow, so far ahead with 5 in that. So you really are creating a buffer zone, a kind of sandbagged inventory, so you can really keep this smoothly rolling out at a given pace.
For sure. Issue 1 and 2, 3 was supposed to be like that. Unfortunately, like we said, hiccups. And thank you everybody for their patience. But issue 1.
Man. Hey, you're such a fine human being. You know what I mean? Your work and you on this interview, we can say we haven't been left disappointed. You shine as a full moon.
Awesome. I love it, man. So I'm trying to stay ahead. So when 4 comes out, by the time that's in everybody's hands, I'll be ready a month or so after that to launch 5, and then so on and so forth, and keep this ball rolling as much as I can. So
right then, we have reached that regrettable time when you just feel the chemistry, Brother Dale, through time and space. You may be in America, we may be here in the UK. In the UK, freedom fighters. Kyle, behave yourself. We don't talk about politics on the show. And we'll say thank you very much, Brother Dale, for being our special and honoured guest. We want to wish you the good luck with the getting more sales for the Tome of Reckoning issue 3, and cranking out 4 and issue 5 almost done, and getting that smooth as butter workflow that you have. And we'll be following issue 4's progress with great interest, folks. And Brother Dale, please come back and see us and visit us in the future. If you need any program, you are more than welcome anytime. We've thoroughly enjoyed this show with you. You are our brother by another mother. And yes, man, I think there's probably some kind of Greek ancient brotherhood there. Are we Spartan warriors, or are we ancient potters and tell our story through clay? We can only wonder and speculate, audience.
That's awesome, brother. As I gotta say, like I said, I've known you for a while from X, but I had that kindred connection with you, and I can't say thank you enough for all the stuff behind the scenes, us chatting, in private messages, and it's really an honor and a pleasure to finally meet you face to face, with the Star Trek tech, as you say, and it's gone as swimmingly as I thought it would. And you're a stand-up guy, man. You're a great dude within the community, and I just can't say thank you enough for just for being a friend, not only on Twitter, but across the oceans, brother. You're a good dude, and I'm really stoked for that you had me on today. And I can't say thank you enough for just being the guy you are, man. So thank you very much, Az. I appreciate it, brother.
Oh, those fine words. We will always strive to be worthy of them, Brother Dale. And we'd like to say a couple of words. Why not have a couple of final words from people in the chat?
Sure.
We've got Fenshaw, F.A.O, before we play our outro trailer. Great show, fun talk. Thanks, Kyle and Dale, for a great listening while I did my Sunday chores.
Heck yeah.
Oh, bless you, Crenshaw.
Awesome.
And keep practicing with your reviews. We like them, and that Richard Burton voice that you have.
Yes.
And oh, here we go. We've got the warrior himself in the chat. It's John's Longbox. Hello, John. How's it doing?
Yes.
God bless him.
The patriarch himself.
The patriarch of the indie comics community himself, and winner of a clutch of 5 Pillars of Storytelling recognition awards as well. It's great to see him in the chat. And John along, nothing but love for the Kyle. Really? Oh, it's very nice. You guys are so kind and nice. You should come around here more often. Maybe. I wonder who we're going to have next week. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But we've got 1 or 2 people lined up for you guys. It's been great chatting to Brother Dear, and we want to let him go so he can go and cook pizza and be part of that dream team family that has, as they say in that Queen song, this could be heaven. And we say paradise, and we're glad that we finally met some fellow homebirds. Always good. Here's our outro trailer, and we'll give a gracious and gentle wave to one and only Brother Dio, Darth Dionysius himself.
I love it. I love it.
Bless you, Brother Dio. Take care.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime.
Yeah.